Welcome to Blockchain Chat application. In this project, you're going to build your first ever blockchain chat application where you can register yourself, where you can register your friend, where you can make friend, and where you can send and receive messages. And all these things will happen behind the scene based on the smart contract. So I believe that you will learn something new in this project, and this project is going to be a huge push in your portfolio. Okay, so if you have this kind of industry ready project, you will have a better understanding of the smart contract and the blockchain behavior. So let's have a quick overview of the application which we are about to build in the next 3 hours, and after that we straight away move to our code editor and start building this phenomenal applications. So hope you guys will enjoy, and if you are new to my channel, hit like and subscribe. That will motivate me a lot to come up with this new project. And if I get thousands like, then definitely I will planning to make a new project video. Here we are back in Visual Code Studio. So what I have done so far for this project, I have created a folder by the name chat app. Okay, I haven't done anything in that. I'm opening that folder in my Visual Code Studio, and in this I'm going to initialize. So first thing I will do, open up my terminal and I'm going to clear it, and I'm going to initialize next app. Okay, so npx create next app in the same directory. This will take a little bit time, so just be patient. And here you can see it's happening. So here we have initialized Next.js in our project. Okay, let's click on this pages and delete this folder. Okay, so we're going to clear all those folders and files which we don't need in this project. Okay, so we can start from clean. So we don't have this, simply come here and we need to remove this, type RAFCE, React functional based component, and simply change this to chat. Okay, because this is will call chat app. Okay, close this one, and let's come here. We have to delete this as well because we don't need this one, and we have to delete this one as well. Delete this one, slint, and let's come back to the terminal. Open up your terminal, and now we have to initialize hard hat. Okay, npx hard hat. So I have already installed hard hat in my computer, so that's why I can directly initialize. If you haven't installed, so you can watch my complete course on hard hat in which I have explained you how to do the testing. Okay, in that I have explained everything. Okay, so make sure to follow that if you haven't installed hard hat. Okay, so in this I'm going to create JavaScript project. Okay, so you have 3 options, but I will go with the JavaScript one. So hit enter, and it will recommend you some plugins of packages. You have to install that one, so let's simply paste and install. It's happening. This process generally take a little bit time. I'm using the power of editing, so you can see it's happening very quick. And here we have successfully initialized all the packages. Here we are in packages and file, and here you can find we have this hard hat, slanes, and we need to remove this one because I want to keep things clean. So let's remove this, simply copy that, and we have to uninstall this. npm uninstall inslint, and we have to uninstall this part as well. So copy and simply clear the terminal, and we have to uninstall this as well. Okay, this looks pretty cool. Just wait, and here we have successfully uninstalled the unnecessary package. Okay, so we can start something from clean. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now close this one and come back to the script and just make this script clean as well. So we don't need this one as well. Simply remove this one, and we do not need to pass, and we don't need to pass any argument in the deployed, and remove this comment as well. So our deploy script looking very clean. Now let's come back to this is the hard hat config file. We don't need to do anything here because we do going to do things here, because when we connect with the Avalanche and we're going to deploy the contract to the Avalanche test network, on that time we're going to do the configuration, but that's the topic of the next later part. Okay, close this one, and now let's come back to the contract and simply delete this old file. Okay, simply delete this file, and now we're going to create a new file and we'll call it, let's say, chat app soul. Okay, in that we're going to write the entire smart contract for our chat come social media application. Okay, and now we can start writing the smart contract. Okay, so we need to follow the general convention. We have to provide the license identifier, which is going to be, let's say, MIT. We have to provide the Solidity version, which is 0.7 points, and it's less than 9. Okay, we'll define the contract name, so we'll call it chat app, and in that we're going to define the variables. Okay, so first thing we have to define the use struct. Okay, so first thing is going to be the user. Every user will have a unique property. It will have the name and it will have the list of the friends. Okay, so let's define the string name, and it will have an array. It will call friends. So all the friends of this particular user will be stored inside this friend array. Okay, let's come down, let's create another struct, and this will call friends. Okay, and in this we'll take the address and we'll take the string name. Okay, so this is for the friend. Now we'll take another one, we'll call it, let's say, message, because obviously we're going to send message and receive message. Okay, so we need to have a struct to store the data. So we'll have an address, sender, and we'll take the, let's say, UNT256, and we'll take the timestamp because we have to display the time of the message as well, and we have to take the message itself. Okay, so this is the three struct we have. Okay, so simply close this one, so it will take less space. Let's come down, and here we're going to take a mapping, and here we have to take a mapping. We'll take an address and we'll say, let's say, user. It will say list, user list. Okay, so all the users will be registered in our application. That's all we're going to store inside this. Okay, and we'll take the address of them and we can identify all the properties. And we'll take another mapping, and this will call, let's say, bytes, and this will be message. And this mapping will provide us all the communication which happening between two users, two friends. Okay, in this we're going to store all the information, so all messages. Okay, just remember one thing, that this array will contain the messages between two users. Okay, we have mapping. Now let's come down, let me give this comment, and now we can start writing the functionality. Okay, so first function we have to write that we have to check, okay, that the user exists or not in our application. Okay, check user exist. Okay, and how we're going to do that? We're going to use the address. We're going to take the address. Okay, we're going to identify by the address, public view, and we have to return a boolean. Okay, if we get true, that means the user already exists in our database, sorry, in our smart contract, in our chat application. If we get false, that means the user doesn't exist. Okay, user list, in that we have all the users. Okay, this mapping contain all the users who got registered into our chat app. Okay, and we get this specific user by providing this address and name. Okay, if we have the name of that person, that means it's already there. Okay, less than 0. So that's what we're going to return. Now let's create a create account function. Okay, and now we have to create a function which allow us to register user. Okay, so let's create a function for that. We'll call function, and let's call create account, and we want to create an account on the base of, let's remove this one, we'll take this string call data. And the reason why we have used call data, because we want to save gas fee. Okay, and we'll call it name, and we'll make it external so anybody can call it. And here we're going to check for a couple of conditions. So those who want to create an account, we have to check that whether they are the user or not. Okay, so if they are the user, then only we are allowed them to create an account. So first they have to be user, then they can create their account. And we can check, we have this function, in that we're going to pass the address of the function address of the person who is calling this function, and that's what we have. And here we're going to simply check for that. Okay, and we're going to return this message, user already exists. Okay, so if a person is trying to create an account who already created the account, so it will throw this error. Okay, now let's do the second check, and this time we're going to check this one, byte name length 0 greater than 0, and then we have to simply display this message, username cannot be empty. Okay, so they have to provide the name, Now let's come down, we'll take this user list, and now we have to update the data. Okay, we'll take this name to name. Okay, that's our create account function. What this function is doing, it's creating a name for the user. Okay, that's what we have. It's looking fine. Now let's close this one, come down, and now we have to create another function, get username. Okay, and now we have to create a function which allow us to get the username on the base of their address. Okay, so every address will have its name in our chat application. Okay, so let's create the function for that. Function I'll call, let's say, get user name. It will receive the address and we'll make it external so anybody can call it, return, and it's going to return the, let's say, it will return the string memory, because we want to return the name of that user. Okay, and here we go to check for the condition. So first we have to check that whether that person, the address is exist in our smart contract or not. Okay, he is the user or not. Okay, so in that we go to pass the address, and we'll have to pass the error message, user not register. Okay, so first thing he have to be registered, then he can get the name. Okay, and we have to simply update that in our complete user list. Okay, so that's the get user function we have. Now let's come here, let's write the another function, add. So that's what we're going to do. So we'll create a function, we'll say add friend, and to add a friend we have to take the address of that person. So we'll say friend key, and we're going to take the name of that person. So we'll use this call data name, it's going to be external. And here we're going to check for a couple of conditions. So the first check we have to do is that person is already a user or not, or whether he has created an account or not. So these are the two check we have to do. So let's do it for first. So we'll do this message.sender. If he hasn't created an account, then we have to throw this as a message that first he has to create the account. Now the second check we have to do is, let's say friend, that key, the person who's trying to make friend, add friend, he or she is created account or not. Okay, so we have to do that check as well. The person who's calling this function, we'll say user is not register. Okay, so you can see these are the two check we are doing. Once it gets succeeded, we have to check for the final one, and this time we're going to check for this message.sender is not equal to friend key. Okay, so someone cannot add themselves as a friend. Okay, so we have to do the check as well. So here we can say user cannot add themselves as a friend. Okay, so these are the three check we have. Now let's come here, we have to do the third check, and this check will allow us to check already friend. Okay, so what this function will do, we haven't created this function yet, we're going to create this function. So what this function will do, it will allow us to check that whether we are already in friend or not. Okay, so that's what the check we have to do. In that we're going to pass this message.sender, and we have to pass the person who is calling the function. Okay, friend key, and it will return false. It will say the error message is these user are already friend. Okay, we have to create this function. So simply copy that, and here we're going to do the update. Okay, if it's pass all this check, then we have to simply update and make them friend. Okay, so we have to call this add friend, and that we're going to pass this message.sender and friend key, and we have to do the vice versa as well. Okay, because we have to update the data for both the one who's trying to add the friend and the one who's getting added. Okay, so we'll say message.sender, and we have to pass the, let's say user list, and that we have this message.sender.name. Okay, so that's what we are doing. Again, we're going to create this add friend function right now, and this function will run internally. That's why you can see I have given this slash notation, and that's the general convention you have to follow in your smart contract in any programming language, which function use internally. It's working fine. Now what we can do, simply copy this, and now we can simply start creating this function. Okay, functions will say check already friend, and that it will take the address, it will take the address of the friend, and it will run internally view. And here we're going to do a couple of check. Okay, so here we're going to return the boolean. So that's what we have here. Now we'll say if user list public key 1 friend list length greater than user list dot public key 2 friend list length. Okay, so this is a very simple check. All the user we have inside this user list, and from there we are trying to identify based on the addresses. Okay, very simple logic, the same kind of logic we have already followed in JavaScript, the same thing we are doing here. Okay, once this condition get fulfilled, all we have to do is we have to simply get this temp public key and the same 1 to 2 and then 2 to atom. Okay, so this is what we are doing. We are simply updating with one another and making connection between them. Okay, so that looks pretty fine to me. Okay, simple logic we have here, and we're going to run this for loop. unt256 I is equal to 0, I is less than user list public key. Okay, 1 friend list, we have the length, then we have I plus plus, so we have the loop. Now here we have to make this comma, and here we're going to run this if statement because we have to do the another check. We'll say public key 1 friend list I dot public key is equal to public 2. Okay, so we are trying to see the connection in our user list, that whether the friend one is connected with the friend 2 or not. Okay, I know this sounds complicated, but just follow along with me. Everything will make sense when we'll get the data. Okay, so we're going to simply come here and we're going to return it. So we have to return true because that's what we are checking. Okay, and here we're going to say false. Okay, so that's the simple logic we have built. So far things are looking pretty good. Now let's create this function, add friend. It will take three data, so it will take the address, me, address of my friend, and it will take the, let's say it will take the name, memory, name. It will learn internally, and we have to do this friend, memory, new, friend. Okay, this is the variable we have taken. Now we have all the data in here, friends, key, and we'll pass the name. Okay, we'll take this user list, pass me, my friend, and we're going to push all the data to this. Okay, very simple logic we have built here. We are simply updating our struct. Okay, so whatever struct we have defined above there, we are simply updating that. Okay, now let's come here, let's write the second function. We'll say get my friends, friend will say get my friends. If it sounds complicated right now, just follow along with me. Okay, I know there is a lot of codes going on, a lot of logics are getting built. Okay, just follow along with me. Everything will make sense when you will see that how things are coming together. Okay, so we here with this function we'll try to find out the friend. Okay, suppose I'm the user and I want to find out all the friends which I have in this application, so this function will allow me to do that. Okay, I want to call it external view and I want to simply return the friend array. Okay, so remember I have taken the array above. Okay, that's what I want to return. So I have this user list message.sender, and in that I will simply pass this friend list. Okay, so that's the complete data I will get of my friends. Okay, now let's create another function. We'll say get chat code. Okay, so this chat code will run internally because we have to identify the particular user when we do the communication, when we'll send the message. Okay, okay, just follow along with me. So we'll call this get chat code and it will receive the address. Okay, public key 1, and we'll receive the another address to public key 2, and internal will use pure. We have to return this byte and it will return this. Okay, we have to check if public 1 is less than public 2, then we have to simply return this gigabyte 256, and in that we have to use this ABI. Okay, ABI pack coded, and in that we have to simply pass the addresses. Okay, address 1 and address 2. Simple logic. We have to do the same thing in the else statement as well, but this time we're going to pass the address 2 then address 1. Okay, 2 and 1 vice versa. Okay, so that's this very simple logic. In this way we can able to get a chat code, sorry, and that's we can use to identify the messages. Okay, now let's come here. Now let's create a message function which allow us to send message. Okay, so we'll send message. This will receive the address of the friend who you want to send the message, and it will receive the message itself. Okay, so we have this message. It will say external. We'll have to check for a condition. Okay, so first check we have to do that the user is already exist or not. Simply copy and paste. We have to pass the address and we have to display the error message. Okay, create an account first, then you can send. Now we have to do the second check that the person who's trying to make this call, he's also registered or not. Okay, so we'll say user is not registered. Now we have to do the third check, and in that we're going to call this function. Okay, whether they are already friend or not. Okay, so message.sender, and we have to say friend key. Okay, and we have to simply type our message. Okay, you are not friend with the given address or user. Okay, so that's the three check we are doing, and now finally we're going to simply call this byte 32. We're going to call this chat code, and now we're going to simply call the function we have created above. This will give us the code. Okay, and in that we have to simply pass the addresses, so message.sender and the friend address who I want to send the message. Okay, once I get the data I want to simply pass this inside this message. Okay, because message is an array and I have to pass this so I can easily able to get the all the messages to that particular user. Okay, simple message dot sender, and I have to pass this block dot timestamp. Simple logic. We are updating our struct, and here we can have all the messages. Okay, this is the array we have. Inside that, we're going to pass this chat code, and we're going to push this data into our message, new message. Okay, so that's the send message function. I hope these things are making sense to all of you guys. Pretty simple logics we are building here to get it. Okay, now let's write another function which allow us to read. Okay, so we'll say read message. We'll have a function read message. It will receive the address of the friend, and it will run externally view, and we have to return the, or let's say all the message. Okay, so message array and memory. Okay, and we're going to take this by 32. We have the chat code, and we're going to call the same function, and we're going to simply pass the same data here in message.sender. We have to pass the friend address. Okay, it will return us the code, and we have to simply use this in all message, and we have to pass here, so we can easily able to get that particular messages. Okay, you can see we are built this entire logic, everything is working fine. I think we are getting an error. So let's try to find out that where the error is happening. So here we are in this send message. Okay, here is the problem we have in our get chat code. Okay, so I have provided this extra bracket. Simply remove this one and remove this one as well. Still we are getting a, okay, my bad. Let's try to find out what's the problem we have here. And here I forgot to add this, so provide this one more. Now it's look good. You can see no more error we have. So make sure you have to do all these fix to be on my first step. You can see we have written this powerful smart contract which can handle all the communication which happening between the two peoples, store the data, display the data, and keep it private. Okay, so things are looking pretty good. Let's have a look. I think I'm forgetting something. Okay, I think so these are the mappings we have. Let's try to have a look what I am forgetting. This is the create one we have. Close this one. This one is get username. This add friend we have. Check all friend. We have add friend, friend list, chat code, message send, and this is the read message. And we have to add one more function to the smart contract, because we have to fetch all the users who got registered into our smart contract, into our chat application. Okay, we haven't have any functionality like that in our smart contract. Okay? So let's create that, and this is the function I was missing. Okay, so let's create a struct which can keep all the users. So we'll say all user struct, and that we have to define the name, and we have to define the addresses. Okay, so these are the two data we are taking from the user. You can define as many information as you want. You can take their profile images, you can take their contact details. Okay, you can take their like short description, something like that. Okay, but here we are only focusing on the two data, okay, name and the address. You can take a lot of data from them. So that's the struct, and now we have to create an array, and we're going to call it get all users. That's pretty simple. We have our array ready, and now we have to simply update this array, and that's what we're going to do inside this create account. Okay, because that's the place where the user is going to be registering themselves. Okay, open up, and here we're going to define that. Okay, so we're going to take this get all user. We're going to push all the data. We'll use this all struct, and we have to simply update name, and we have the address message.sender. Okay, so that's the update we are doing. Simple, not that complicated. And now we have to write a function which allow us to fetch all the users who got registered into our application. Okay, so let's create the function for that. So I'll say function get all app users, and in that we'll say public view return, and we want to simply return the entire struct. Okay, all the users. So we have to simply return get all users. Okay, so this function will give all the user who got registered into our application. So that's pretty much we have to write about the smart contract. Hope you guys have got the entire notion that how everything is working. If still there is any problem, any confusion, don't need to worry. Just follow along with me. Everything will come together when we actually render the data and fetch the data in our live website. Okay, so let's come here. And now we can start here. We can create another folder. So let's create this one called utils folder in the main directory, and this time we're going to call it component, and in that we need to create couple of components. Okay, so we are exactly working on the folder and file structure of our entire application. We are done with the smart contract, and now we are working on the folder and file structure. So let's create the first component is the navbar, and in that we have to create this navbar.jsx, and we have to call it the css file as well, modules.css. Okay, type rfce. That looks pretty good. Now we have to import the css file as well, and that's coming from the same directory, navbar component. Okay, Now let's create the couple of more components, because we have close to 5 to 6 component in this application. Okay, so let's create that. This one is going to be say filter, and we have to create the JSX file, and we have to create the CSS file as well. Okay, now let's create another folder which we'll call, let's say, friend. Okay, this is the friend component. We have to create the JSX, and we have to create the module.css file as well. Okay, so we have this 3 component. Let's create more, and this one will come model. Let's create the JSX, and we have to create the CSS file. So I'm going a little faster here because we are just creating the folder and file structure here. Let's create one more component. This will call user card, and this will have this JSX, and it will have the CSS file as well. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now let's create one more component. This will become loader. Okay, because when we'll do the transaction, and we are doing with the blockchain, so it will take a little bit time. Okay, so we have to show the loader. So it will have the JSX file as well, and it will have the CSS file as well. Now the final one is the error component, because we have to handle all the errors which is happening in our Web3 application. Okay, so it will have the JSX, and it will have the CSS file as well. Hope this folder and file structures are making sense. So all those folders we have created, they are the components of our application. Okay, so we have broke down all the entire application into a small components. Okay, and you can see that how we can easily able to reuse this component over and over again. Okay, and by the way, if you haven't watched the NFT market project, I must tell you that you should watch. Okay, I'll link that video in the I button in the description, where we have built this entire NFT marketplace from scratch, and where I've explained that how you can build scalable application and how beautifully you can design. Okay, so let's focus on this. Now let's simply close all these open folders and files. So that looks pretty good. Let's close these folders, and now what we can do, let's come here into the pages, and here we are in the app.js file, and now we had to simply convert it into a arrow function. Okay, I'm going to remove this block. Simply remove it, simply cut and paste here, take a div and paste inside that. Okay, that looks pretty good. We have this arrow functions. Close this one. Now let's come back to the component. Inside the component, we have to create this index.js file, because in that we're going to import all the component, and from that index.js we're going to export into different places. Okay, so we'll call index.js, and let's come here, and here we're going to import the navbar. Okay, the same structure we have following, which we have followed in our NFT marketplace. Okay, so that's what we have, navbar, and we have to simply export. Okay, so navbar, so that's the one we have here. Now let's come here, close this one, come back to the error, and we have to simply type RAFCE, and close this one. We have to do the same for the filter as well, type RAFCE. Do we have to do the same for the friends as well? Close this one, do this to loader. Now we have to do this to model, RAFCE. We have to do this to the user card. Okay, RAFCE. So that looks pretty good. All the structure is ready for us to build. Okay, close this one, and now we can import all this. So we have this filter that's coming from the filter folder and the filter component. Let's import the error component. Now we have to import the loader component. We have to import the model component. We have to import the user card component. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now simply export all of these components. So filter, error, loader, model, and we have user card. I think we are missing one more, so let's come here, and we have to import the friend component. And actually this one is going to be a very important one. Okay, so let's export this one. So these are the component we going to use in this application. Okay, so we are just looking fine. Now let's close all these open folders, so it will become a little nicer. So now what we can do, let's come here, and we have to create one more folder called context, and in that we're going to create 2 files. So first one is going to be constant, same structure we are following. Now we have to create the context for our chat app. Okay, chat app context.js. Okay, looks pretty fine. Now let's come here into the utils folder, and we have to call API feature. Okay, So that looks pretty fine. Now close this one, and now we're going to start working on our API feature. So in this API feature, we're going to create all the general function which we need in our application. Okay, so before we do that, let's come here in package.json file, and we have to install a couple of packages. You can see we have all these packages. Let's open up your terminal, clear your terminal, and we have to install the ether package as well. Okay, because that will allow us to do the communication with the smart contract and front end. Okay, so let's install that. Okay, it's happening, just wait. And now we have to install one more package, which is a Web3 model. Okay, model. So we need these two packages to communicate with our smart contract. Just wait, this will take a little bit time, and it will happen very soon. And it's happening. And here we have installed both the packages in our application, and here you can find them. Okay, these are the latest version we have used. Now here we have in the deploy script, and now we can simply do the changes in the deploy script. Okay, so this is the contract name we have. Simply come up here, copy the contract name, and let's come back to the deploy script. And here we have to change the name to simply chat app, and here we have to say chat app. We have to change this name, select all these one, and we have to replace this one and simply remove this capital to small. Okay, that looks pretty fine, and I don't need to log this out, this information. I simply going to remove this huge console log, and I would say contract address. Okay, so this is our deploy script looking perfect. Now let's come here, and now let's try to deploy the contract. Okay, so let's come here, split your terminal, and now we're going to initialize our local blockchain. Okay, so let's do it. Type npx hard at node, hit enter, and here you will find like close to 20 accounts provided by Hardhat which we can use. Okay, and here we're going to simply write the deploy script. Okay, so this is the deploy script, nothing new to all of you guys. You guys have already seen me a lot of time. Okay, npx hardhat run script deploy, and network is going to be localhost. So hit enter, and it's compiled successfully, and here we got the address back. Okay, simply copy this address, and now we can utilize it. Okay, so let's come back to the context, go to this constants, and simply paste here the address. And here we're going to simply export the address and the ABI of the contract. Okay, so let's come here. Here we're going to say export const, let's say chat app address, and just paste here. We have to take the one more, we'll say chat app ABI, and the ABI we are getting from here. Okay, so inside this contract we have this ABI. Simply drag and drop into this context, and that's what we're going to import it here. Okay, so we'll say chat app JSON. You can call whatever you want, and that's coming from the same directory. And here we're going to call the chat app JSON, and in that we have this ABI. Okay, so hope these things make sense to all of you guys, because this is what we are doing in most of our project. So that's our constant file is ready. Everything's looking fine so far. Close all of these. Okay, now we are back in API feature file, and now we're going to create those general function here. So first thing, we have to import the important packages. So we need ethers, and that's coming from here. Now we have to need the Web3 model. Okay, Web3 model, contract address, and the ABI, and that's coming from the context. So simply copy this address and paste, come back and copy this ABI and paste here, and that's coming from the same directory. Okay, now we have to create the function. So we'll say check if wallet is connected. Okay, so this function will allow us to check constantly that whether the application is connected with the wallet or not. Okay, so here we're going to target the MetaMask. Okay, so we'll say async, we'll say to try and catch, and in that we have to simply console log out the error. If there is no address, we'll say install MetaMask, and here we'll say if window.ethereum is not exist, then we have to simply do one thing. Simply grab this message and place it here. Okay, and simply replace this with the current error message. Okay, let's take a variable accounts, and we can get wait window ethereum dot request, and we have to pass the method. So method is going to be, let's say, eth dash accounts. So once we have that all accounts, we have to take the first account. So we'll say first account This is how, because the accounts will come in the form of array. Okay, so we have to get the first account, and that's what we're going to return from this function, so we can receive wherever we are calling. Okay, so that's our export a wallet connected function. And now we have to write the other function which allow us to connect with the wallet on the base of the click event. Okay, so we'll say connect const connect wallet. Okay, it's gonna be async, we'll have a try and catch, it will have an error message, and the same check we have to do here. Okay, so let's come here and simply grab this all and paste here. And now this time we have to change the method to eth request accounts. Okay, and same thing we have to follow, we have to take the first account, so first account 0, and that's what we're going to return from this function. Okay, first account. So that's our connect wallet function and check wallet function. Both the functions are ready. So these are the two functions we have. Now let's come here, and now we have to write a function which allow us to fetch the smart contract. Okay, so let's say fetch contract. It will have a signer or provider. We're going to use the package new ether dot contract, and in that we're going to pass the, let's say we have to pass the ABI and the contract address, and we have to pass the signer provider, the one who's trying to interact with our application. Okay, so that's what we have. So this is the simple function, fetch contract function we have written, and now we're going to write another function. This will call, let's say, connecting with contract. Okay, async function will have this try and catch, we'll say console.logout error, and here we're going to simply use the packages which we have used, like Web3 model. Okay, so we'll say Web3 model, we have new Web3, we'll call it, we have the instance of that. Now we'll say connections await Web3 model, in that we'll call this connect. Now we have the connection, we have this provider new ether dot provider dot Web3 provider, in that we have to pass the connection. Now let's come down, we have to simply take this signer, and we are getting from provider dot get signer. Okay, once we have the signer, and that's what we're going to provide in our fetch contract. Okay, just provide that, and once we have that, now we're going to simply return this contract, so we can receive wherever we are calling this function. Okay, so we'll call contract. So this is our connecting with contract function is ready. The reason why I have abstracted these function as a API feature, because these are the function is very general. No matter what kind of application, Web3 application you are building, these are the general function you have to create to have a communication with the smart contract. Okay, so that's why I have converted this into an API feature which you can reuse wherever you want. So these are the three functions we have, and now what I want that in our application we are displaying the time that when the user send the text message. Okay, but that time will come in the form of timestamp, so we have to convert that time into a readable time. Okay, so let's create the function. So I'll say export const and say convert time. It will receive the time, and here we're going to simply no try and catch, so we'll take a variable, we'll say new time, and this time we have it here. Okay, so we'll take this new date, and that we're going to pass the timestamp, and we're going to convert this into a number. Okay, because the timestamp we get from the contract, it will come in the form of big number. Okay, so we have to convert into a readable number. Okay, so we'll say to number we have. Let's come down, and we're going to take this const, we'll say real time. Okay, now we have this new time, and that we're going to call this get hour function. So this is a very simple JavaScript. Okay, I hope you guys are familiar with the JavaScript, so that's why I'm just going a little faster here. Okay, plus then we're going to use this new time, we're going to call this get minute functions plus, and bring it down, and let's say this plus, and we have to get the, this time we have to get the seconds. Okay, simple JavaScript. We have to say date, so we have the time, now we have to display the date as well, so we'll have this plus, we'll say new time, and we have this function called date. Okay, we got date plus, we have to get the we have this new time, and that we're going to call the, let's say get what function we have month, and we have to get the year as well. Okay, so let's provide this one. Okay, wrap this in a this way, so it will start from 1. And now we have to get the year as well, so slash plus we have this new time, and that we're going to call this get new time, get full year. Okay, once we have the entire readable time, and that's what we're going to return from this, so we'll say return real time. So this function will allow us to give the readable time, which we can display in the message. Okay, so simple JavaScript, nothing complicated here. Okay, I believe that you guys have understood all the things whatever we have done here so far. Okay, so we are done with this. Close this one, come here, and now we can start working on our context. Okay, so now let's start writing all the functionality which allow us to communicate with our smart controller, like creating account, fetching account, sending message. Okay, that's all we're going to do inside this context. Okay, and we are using context API in this project to share the data. Okay, so here we are. We'll come down here, we'll type this RFC, we'll remove this portion, and we have to import couple of things from React. So we need use state, we need use effect, and come down, we have to import the, let's say, use router, that's coming from next router. We have to do a couple of internal imports, so we need all the functionality we have created. Okay, so let's come here, close this one, and here we have created all the functions in our API feature. Okay, and that's what we're going to import. Simply copy and import one by one, and that's coming from the API, sorry, utils / API feature. Come copy and paste here, and we need this one as well. That's the 3 function we are getting from the API features. Now here we're going to create the context. Okay, so we'll call it chat app context react dot create context. Okay, this is our context. Now we have to create the provider, chat app provider, and that we have to pass the children. It's gonna be an arrow function. Okay, and here we're going to take this data variable. Okay, because I want to show you variable, I'll say hey, welcome to blockchain chat app. Okay, now we have to return this, and we're going to take this context provider, and that we have to pass the children. Here we're going to pass the value, so all the data we're going to pass inside this. So let's pass this title so I can show you that it's working. So that's the general setup we have done in our context. Come here and we go to the API. Okay, and here we're going to utilize the provider. Okay, so let's import that first. So internal import, so we have to call it, let's say, what is the name we have called? So chat app provider. Simply copy this one and simply paste here, and that's coming from our context and context. Okay, so we got this. Simply copy that one and bring it here, and we have to wrap our application with this. Simply cut and paste here. So now we can easily able to access all the data which we shared in that values. Okay, looking fine. Now we have to import the navbar as well, because that's what we're going to highlight here. Okay, and that's coming from our component, and that we have this index. Okay, index file. So where it is, this one. Okay, so here we have the navbar, and that's what we're going to pass it here. Okay, navbar component. So that's the general setup we have done in our app.js files. We are done with that. Now let's come back in the context, and to check this out, let's come back to this index, and here we're going to simply import a couple of things from React to check. Okay, state, use here, and use context. Now we have to do the internal import, so we need to import the, let's say, this is chat app context, and that's coming from our context, app context, and that's what we're going to simply receive the data here. So we are using this chat app context, and here we have taken this title. Okay, simply copy, and that's what we are passing and receiving here. Okay, and that's what we're going to try to display here. So I believe whatever we have done, that makes sense. Okay, so simply open up your terminal and try to start the application. npm run dev header and open in local 3000. So here you can see, just wait, it's loading, and boom, here you can see it's working fine. Hey, welcome to blockchain chat app. So our context API is working fine, and we can easily able to access data in different components. Simply bring this down, and what I want, that's looking fine. I don't want to have this data. Okay, so simply remove this. I just put this to show you guys. Okay, remove this one and remove this from here as well. Type hey, come back to the context and simply remove this one, and that's what we have to do here as well. So that's our context absolutely working fine. And now we're going to take the couple of state variables, and now we have to define couple of state variable in which we're going to store the data which we get from the smart contract. Okay, all the communications. So let's start that. Okay, so I'll define this, let's say state, and here we're going to take this account. Initially it would be empty. Okay, why I'm getting this error? Okay, my bad. Simply cut this one and paste above this, cut this one here and bring it here. Okay, so here we're going to define all the state variables for this application. So we have the account. Now let's define the other. So we'll take another one, we'll say use state, we'll define the username, we'll take another one, we'll have the, let's say, friend list array, we'll have another one, this will call, let's say, friend message, it will have an array, we'll have another one, we'll say, let's say, loading false, because we have to wait and display the loading when the transaction is happening. Okay, we have a loading. Now let's take another one, we'll have this, let's say, user lists, it will be an array, we'll have another one, we'll say error, because in this we're going to save the error message. So these are the general state variable we have taken. Okay, now we have to take one more. Let's come here and we'll take the chat user. Okay, so here I'm going to take two state variable which allow me to display that who I'm chatting with in this application currently. Okay, so their name and address I'm going to store. Okay, so current user name, and I will take the address as well. So current user address, it would be a string. Okay, and that's what we have here. So these are the user data. Now we have to take the router, because that's what we're going to use once someone will create an account. So we have to redirect to the home page. Okay, so that's what we're going to use router for. We have the router now. That looks pretty good. Okay, so these are all the variables we have defined. So far things are clear to all of you, I believe. Now let's come here, we're going to write the functionality first. So the first function will create which allow us to fetch all the data at the time of page reload. Okay, so let's write the functions. So we'll take a variable fetch data, and it's going to be an async function because we are dealing with the smart contract behavior. Okay, try and catch, so it will have an error. So here we have already taken the state variable, so we're going to set the error message. So we'll say, okay, so let's type the error message, please install and connect your wallet. Okay, so we already have this error state variable, and that's what we are using from the beginning. And here we're going to first call our contract. So we'll say get contract. So that's what the function we have here. We'll say const contract await, and we have to call the functions. Okay, so this will give us the contract, and now we have to get the account. So we'll say connect connect account, and we have this connect wallet function. Okay, so connect wallet function. So I'm going to call this function at the time of page reload. Okay, so I'm going to call this connect wallet function. Okay, you have two options, whether you can call check if wallet is connected, or you can call this function. Both will work, but I'm going to call this one. Okay, so once we have the connected account, we have to simply set that account to current account. Okay, so we got the account, we are setting up. Now we have to simply get the username. Okay, and we already have a function of smart contract. We'll say username, we have to await and contract, and what's the name we have given to that function. So let's come here in the smart contract. Okay, this is the function we have. So all we have to do is to pass the address of the user who, and we get the name back. Okay, simply copy the function, come back and call the function, and that we're going to pass this connect account function. So we'll get the name of that user. Once we get the name of the user, we have to set that name. Okay, set username to username, and now we have to simply write the third function, get my friend list. Okay, so the person who's connected with the application, we have to try to fetch his friend list. Okay, his or her friend list, sorry. So we'll say const, we'll say friend list await, and we have a function in our smart contract. So let's come back. So this is the function we have, get my friend list. Simply copy that, and that's what we're going to call it. Okay, and then we have to set that. So these are the general function we are calling every time. Okay, now let's type the another one, get all app user, and we have a function for that as well. So we'll say user listed await, we'll take the contract, and we have the functions. So what is the name of the function? Get all app user. Simply copy, and boom, So all this function we are calling at the time of page reloader, because this are the information we have to display when the user will visit to our application. Okay, and we are setting up. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Okay, this is the all function, all the contract interaction we are doing here. Now I want to call this function whenever someone will reload the page. Okay, so let's do that. We'll say fetch data, and we're going to call this empty array. So that's the first feature function. You can see our MetaMask is open, and we can simply do that. So let's simply stop this application from running, because I don't want that every time I save the code and my MetaMask get popped up. Okay, so I don't want to do that. So simply stop this application from running. Let's focus all on the functionality, and later we go to check that. Okay, that's the first function we have. Let's write that on the function. We'll say read message, and it's going to be async function, and that we have to pass the address of the friend to read his messages. Try and catch, we'll send the set error message to, let's say, currently you have no message. Okay, we'll have to make the connection with our contract. We'll say await connecting with contract. Once we have the contract, we have to simply call this read, and we have a function in our smart contract, this read message. Okay, in that we have to pass the friend address. Simply copy that function, come back here, and in that we're going to pass the address of my friend. Okay, so friend address which we receive from this function. Okay, so that's the function we have, and now we have to set the read message. Okay, so hope things are making sense to all of you guys. Simply copy this, and that's what we have to pass here, so we can receive wherever we want in our application. So that's the very first function we have, read message. Let's write the another one. We'll say create account. Okay, we'll say create account. It will receive a couple of things. So async function, it will receive the name and the address of the user. Okay, and it's gonna be an arrow function. We'll have the try and catch. If anything goes wrong, we have to catch that as well, and we have to display the error message as well. So we'll error while creating your account, please reload the browser. Okay, let's come here. We have to take this if statement, so we have to check that the user are providing the data or not. Okay, so name and the account address. If they don't provide any one of these, we have to throw the error message. So we'll say set error to, let's say, name and account must be there. Okay, cannot be empty. And then we have to simply call the function. Okay, so we'll take const, we'll call the contract await. We have to call the contract function, and now we have a contract. So we're going to call this get created user await contract, and we have to call this create account. In that we have to simply pass the data. Okay, so this is the create account, and in that we have to pass the name only. Okay, name, come here, and we have to pass the simply name of the user. Okay, and then we have to simply set this loading, because this will take a little bit time. So as this transaction is happening in the background, we have to show the loader. Okay, so set loading to true, and here we'll say, let's say, await get created user await. Once this get success, we have to simply set it to false, and then we have to simply reload the browser. Okay, that's simple logic we have doing here for the create account. Okay, simply close this, copy and paste here. So these are the two functions, we got it. Now let's write the third one, and this will say add your friend. Okay, const add friend, and to add the friend we need couple of things. So it will have a try and catch, and that we'll set the error message. We'll say something like something went wrong while adding friend, try again. And in that we have to receive couple of things. We need the name and we need the account address, and this time we have to do the check. Okay, so come back here, we have to check if account and name exist. Okay, then only we can call. Okay, set the error message, then we have to call the contract. So we'll say const contract, and we have to call the connecting contract functions. And once we have that, now we have to take another variable. We'll call it add my friend await contract, and we have a friend function. So here we have this add friend, and that we have to pass this friend name, friend address, and the name. Simply copy this and paste here, and in that we have to pass the data. Okay, so let's pass this account address and name. Okay, so make sure order is very important. Okay, so you have to pass the same order in which you have defined in your smart contract. Okay, so now we have to follow the same logic. Set loading to true. We have to wait for that transaction getting completed, so add my friend await. Then we have to simply call this false, and then we have to simply send this to the home page. Okay, slash push this, and then we have to reload the browser. Simple logic, nothing complicated. Okay, simply copy, and that's what we have to pass here. So these are the three functions we are done with. Now let's come here. We have to write the send message function to your friend. We'll say const, we'll say send message. It will receive the, let's say, message and the address to whom I want to send. Try and catch. Console, we have to set the message, error message to, let's say, please reload and try again. And here we have to check for the data that there is a data or not. So message.send message and the address, then return this error message. Same general convention we are following here. Please type your message. Then we have to get the contract, so const contract, and we have this connecting with contract. We have to take another variable. We'll say add message await contract, and we have a function. Okay, the send message function. In that we have to pass these two data. So we have to pass the address of my friend and the message itself. So these are the things. Now we have to say set loading to true, and we have to await it. So await add message wait, and then we have to set loading to false, and then we have to simply reload the browser. Location.reload. Okay, so this is our send message function. Simply copy that and simply pass it here. Okay, so these are the four functions we have here. So far everything's looking good. Let's come down, and now we have to write down one more function which allow us to read the user info. Okay, so we'll say const, we'll say read user async function, and it will receive the address, okay, of the user. We'll have this try and catch. Let's not have, we'll take this variable const and contract await. We have to make the connection with the smart contract. Then we have to take this variable, we'll say user name wait contract, and we have a function in our smart contract. Let's come here, get user. Okay, so this will give me the name of the user, and this function will going to use to fetch the data like account and name from the person who are we chatting with. Okay, so for that we are creating this function. We'll pass the user address, and we'll simply come here, we'll say set user name to be the username, and we have the address his. Okay, so we are setting up. Simply copy and paste here. So I believe whatever we have done so far, things are clear to all of you guys. These are the pretty simple things. You guys have already seen this kind of logic we have work in our NFT marketplace, so make sure to check that as well. Okay, but work along with me. So that looks pretty good. All the functionality is ready for our application. So this is the fetch, read, create, add, send, and read user info. And now we have to send all these data. Okay, so we can receive in our component. Simply copy this one and come here and simply pass one by one. Okay, account. So let me do it very quickly. Okay, I'll go with this username. Let's come up here. I'll go with this friend list. Sorry, I'll get this with friend message. I'll get this one loading, this user list, and I have to get this loading as well. I have to get the error as well. I have to get this current username and current user address. And that's it. That's the only thing we have to do here in our context. Here we are communicating with our smart contract, fetching all the data, all the logic, everything is working absolutely fine here. Okay, so we are done with the most important part of this complete project. So we have built the smart contract, we have built all the logic to make the connection. Okay, you can see all the function is working absolutely beautifully. Okay, so that's the fetch data function. We have the send data. Okay, now simply close this one, and now we can start working in our component section. Okay, so we have our smart contract ready, we have our context API ready, we have our smart contract ready, we have our context API is also ready, and now we can start working on our front-end UI part. Okay, so we can display and bring all the functionality into life, so you can come and you can chat with your friend. So let's come here, close this one, and let's come back to the component, and we're going to start with the navbar first. Okay, so let's come here, let's zoom a bit, and that's how things are looking right now. You can see, let's come here, and before we do that, I'm going to use pop-in, okay, for the font. So let's come back to the Google Fonts, click here, and here I have already predefined the Google font. Don't need to worry, you guys will get in the starter file. Okay, so this is the font I'm using, and I will click here in the media. I will simply grab this one, copy, and come back. So let's go back to into my global style file here, and I'm going to paste on top. So this is the font family which I'm using. Okay, now let's come here in the body, and here we're going to define the font family. Okay, so let's simply copy this one, font family Roboto, and paste here. Now we have to define the background color, and this is the primary color which I'm using, 2E292F3F. okay, we have to define the color for the text, so I'm going to use completely white. These are the general setup in the style file, and now I'm going to remove all the scroll behavior, okay, the side scroll bar. Okay, so let's write the webkit for that. Webkit scroll bar display is going to be none. So that's the only thing we have to do in our global CSS file. So things are looking pretty good. Now we can come back and we can start working in our navbar. Okay, so click here and we can start writing the navbar code. Okay, so we're going to import a couple of things from React: use effect, use state, and use context. We have to import the images, next images. We have to import the link, and here we're going to do the internal import. So first thing, we have to import the style file that's coming from the same directory. Okay, and we have to import our context. Okay, so if we come here, this is chat app context. That's what we're going to receive here. So bring this down, and that's coming from our context chat app context. Okay, now we have to import the, let's say, model and error component, and that's coming from our component slash index. Okay, because these two components we're going to use in our navbar, error and the model. And now we have to import the assets we're going to use in this application, all the images. So here I have created a folder, in that I have all the images which I'm using in this application. So I will simply copy and drag and drop here in my main directory. I'm going to copy it. Okay, so don't need to worry about it. You guys will get all this starter file. In that you will have this folder, image folder as well. So if I open this asset folder, in that you will find that I have close to 20 to 30 images. Okay, so if I open this one is account, user, avatar. So all these images which we have here, which we are using in this application. Okay, so you can find that here as well. Okay, so I have already done this setup for all of you guys. You can see this is the naming convention I have followed, image 9, image 10. Okay, so I'll explain you why I have done in that way. So that's all looking fine, and here I have also created an index.js file. Okay, this is our loader. In that I have imported all the images. Okay, so you can see this is the images, all the images I have imported here, and I have made here default exports. So you can see, and here you can see I'm following a very general naming convention: image 1, image 2, image 3. Okay, because when I'm going to render the information for the user, so every user will have a different image, and we're going to simply manipulate this number to change the images. Okay, so that's the logic I'm followed here. Okay, it will make sense, just follow along with me. So that's the entire images we have here. Now that looks pretty fine here. Close this one, and now we're going to simply import the images here. So we'll say images, and that's coming from / assets. Okay, that's the one we have. Simply come here, delete this part. Okay, so that's the external and internal import we have here. And let's come here, let's remove this part, and here we're going to take this one, div. It will have a class called navbar. Inside that we'll have another div. It will have a class called navbar dash box. Okay, and here we're going to take a couple of data. Okay, so we need a menu. Okay, so we'll take this menu item, because we need our navigation bar where we can have a different menus. Okay, so it's gonna be an array of objects. So it will have a menu name, and it will have a link. Okay, so it will have a link. So I'll say all user, simply replicate this couple of times and simply change the data. So select all this and make this slash. I want to change this to chat. This will become, let's say, contact. This will become setting. This will become FAQs. Replicate one more time, and this will become, let's say, terms of use. Okay, these are the menu we have. Simply close this one, and here we're going to define a couple of use states. So we'll have a, let's say, active account, active. Okay, so we have to display that which menu is active. Okay, so initially I want to open the chat. Okay, so do, and we'll have another one is going to be open, false. We'll have another one, we'll say open model, and this will become false as well. So these are the three use state we have here. Looking fine. Now we have to take the context. Okay, use context and chat app context, and in that we're going to import the account username, and we have to import the connect wallet function. Okay, so these are three data we are importing for our context. Looking fine so far. Let's come here, go back to the context, and what else we need here. Things are looking good. Now we have to simply pass this connect wallet here, and we have to pass this, let's say, what else we can pass. So let's come here, and we have to pass this check if wallet is connected or not. Simply copy and paste here. Things are looking good. So we are exporting all this data from here. Account we have, and username we have. Okay, now let's start working on the JSX part. So let's bring this down. We'll have this another div. It will have a class called box left, and this will become right. Let's say right. In that we're going to take this image. It will have a source image, and the image we want to use the logo. All tags will say logo. Width is going to be 50, height is going to be 50. Okay, pretty cool. And now we'll come to the right side, and here we're going to take a div. It will have a class called navbar box right, and it will call menu. In that we're going to take this dynamic block, and we have this menu, and we go to map over it. Okay, loop over it, and we want to instantly return. So in that we're going to take another div. Okay, it will have a, let's say, it will have a on click function, and the function we want to call is this. So with the function I want to call is set active. Okay, so this is the active, and it will become I plus 1, and it will have a key I plus 1, and it will have a class as well. So the class I want to assign is the template literal. Okay, so we're going to add a dynamic classes. So once the menu is active, we have to display the color and the bottom on the line. Okay, so we have to take a dynamic class here, and that's how we're going to define. So we'll take this one, nav bar right menu items. Okay, and we're going to take one more class. We'll say active. If active, I plus 1. If the menu is active, I plus 1, then we want to call this class. Okay, we'll say active button active. Okay, otherwise we have to say empty. Okay, active button and then empty. Simple logic we are following here. If the menu is active, then we are adding a special class to that. Okay, that's the simple logic we are doing here, and that's what we have here. And let's come here. We have to take this link tag, and in that we have to simply pass the class. So we'll say style.navbar menu items link. It will have the href path. So let's say element.link. So that's what we are getting here, and here we're going to pass the name of the menu. So element.menu name. Okay, that's simple logic. Now let's test this out. Let's open up your terminal and type our npm run dev. Come back to the browser and simply reload it, and here you can see we have the logo, we have all the menus, everything is working absolutely fine. Things are looking pretty good. You can see our redirection is also working fine. Okay, our router is also working fine. Now let's bring this down, and now we can start working. Continue. Okay, so simply close this one, and this one is going for the desktop. Okay, so our menu will have two versions, one for desktop and the other one is for the mobile device. Okay, so let me comment this, and I will say mobile. Simply grab this previous one, and here we're going to do a couple of change. Okay, so we can say that if the open is true, then only we want to display this. Means that if we are on a mobile device, then we only want to display this menu. Okay, and simply paste here, and here we going to say, okay, simply, and here we have to change. Okay, so the changes we have to do into this component. So instead of navbar right, we can simply select this part and we'll say mobile. Okay, mobile, mobile, mobile. Okay, so that's the change you have to do. Make sure to do the same changes, you guys. So that's our menu, how it's look. So our menu is ready for the mobile device as well. And here we're going to take a p tag, and it will have a style because we want to show the close button as well. Okay, mobile button, and in that we're going to take this image. We have our src. Inside the images folder we have this close image. Okay, button is exactly, we have to provide the alt tag. Width is going to be, let's say, 50. Height is going to be 50. Simple. And it will have on click function. So on the base of the click, I want to simply turn off the menu. Okay, close it out. Okay, set open to false. Okay, simple logic, nothing complicated. So that's the mobile menu we have. Okay, so that's the mobile menu. Let's come down, and we have to take this connect wallet function. Okay, so we'll have a button in our menu which allow us to connect. So we'll have a button in our navigation bar which allow us to connect with the wallet. Okay, so let's create that element first. So we'll say div, we'll say style nav bar box right connect. In that we're going to take this account. If account is empty, okay, if account is empty, then we want to render this button. Okay, so button, it will have a on click function on that, and we're going to call this function. Okay, so we'll say connect wallet function if the account is empty. Okay, so we have already have this function here, and that's what we are calling here. Okay, and we'll say space, and we'll say take a spam, and we'll say connect wallet. Simple. But come here, and we'll take another dynamic block, and we'll take this button. It will have a on click function, and this time the function we want to call is, let's say, set open model and true, because you can see this is the model we have, set open model. Just code along with me, everything will make sense. Okay, just code along with me. In that we're going to take this space, and we're going to take this dynamic block, because here we have to do two check. So just write, we'll take the src, we'll take the image, not image, we're actually looking for the account, sorry, username. Okay, means the person who try to connect with the application here, if he has already created account, okay, then we want to display the different image. But if he hasn't created account, then we want to display different image. Okay, so we'll say if username exists, then we have to display this image, account name, and if doesn't exist, then we have to display this. Okay, create to, and it will have the alt, it have the width 20, height 20. Okay, simple. We'll take this space, now we'll take this span small, sorry, and in that we have to check for the condition. Okay, so if we have the username, then display the username, otherwise display this create account. Simple. Hope things are making sense to all of you guys. So we are done with these buttons. Now simply come down here, we're going to take this div class, and we'll say style dot navbar right open, and in that we're going to simply have this on click function, and on the click of event we want to simply set open to true. Okay, we want to open that, and in that we're going to take this image src, we have to take the images we have inside this open alt, and this is the open, width is going to be 30 and height is going to be 30. So this is our hamburger. Okay, so if we click on this, we can open our menu. Okay, things are looking good, and you can see this is how everything is looking. So we have the menus, we have the create account, because we are already connected with this, but we haven't created the account. So you can see this is what we are getting. We have the our menu button, you can see it looks pretty good. If you can see here, we have the MetaMask, it's already popped up. If you type this message, sorry, credential, and here you can see we are connected with this application. And right now you can see this create account because we haven't created the account, so that's why you can see the moment we create, things will work fine. Okay, so things are looking fine here. Come here and close this one, and now we can start working on the CSS file. Okay, so let's start styling this. So let's target this navbar. We'll say let's make this side by side so you guys can see. Width is going to be 80%, margin 3, auto, position is going to be relative, navbar, box, display is going to be grid template column 1FR, align item center, gap is going to be 2 RAM. We'll take this navbar, box right, display is going to be flex, align item center, justify content space between. We'll take this navbar, box right menu, display is going to be flex, align item center, gap is going to be 2 RAM, border bottom 2 pixels solid, and we'll have this transparent, transition all 0.3 second easy in. We'll target the navbar active button. We'll say color is going to be our F18303. Why it's not working? Okay, we have to fix this one. Okay, things are looking fine, not a big deal. Come here and we'll target this border bottom 2 pixels solid. We'll have the second primary color, padding bottom 0.4 RAM. Okay, these are not working. Okay, we have to fix this. Let's come here. Things are looking good here, no problem we have here. So this is the active button. We have simply copy and paste here. So still we have some issue, it's not working, but everything else is working. Let's zoom out. Okay, now you can see this is how it will look. Perfect. Okay, let's continue working. We'll see what's the matter. We'll target the navbar, box right, connect, display is going to be flex, justify self is going to be flex send, and right connect button. We'll target the background color is going to be, let's say, RGB 0.25. Okay, padding is going to be 1 RAM, border none, border radius 0.5 RAM, font size 1.1 RAM, color is going to be our second primary color, font width is going to be 700, cursor pointer, and this will display is going to flex, and align item center, and gap is going to be 1.5 RAM. So that's how it will look. Pretty good. Let's come down. Navbar, box right, close. Display is going to be none because we don't want to display on the desktop. Okay, we'll say navbar, box right, open. Display is going to be none. Okay, navbar, box mobile, and we'll say display is going to be none. Come down, we'll take mobile menu, display is going to be none. Okay, so do one thing, let's simply remove that. Okay, and take the media query. Okay, only width is going to be, let's say, max width 35 em. We'll target the navbar, width is going to be 90%, margin 2 RAM, auto, navbar, box, we'll target the grid template column 1.6 FR and 2 FR. That's how it will look. Justify content space between. Okay, these styles are not taking place, not a big deal. We'll take this button, font size 1 RAM, and padding is going to be 0.8 RAM. Navbar, box open, display is going to be block. Okay, let's come here, and the problem we have, so these things are looking good, no problem we have. So this is the one we have, navbar, box right, open, simply copy, and that's what we are targeting here. Things are looking pretty good. Now let's come here, navbar, box right, menu, position fixed, z index 11, background color our 292 F3, first primary color, width is going to be 100%, and flex direction is going to be column, height is going to be 100 VH, inset is going to be 000, and padding is going to be 4 RAM. Display is going to be none. So that's how it will look. You can see looking perfect, absolutely. Okay, that looks good. That's how it will look on our desktop. And our media query is also working fine on a small device. That's how it will look. Okay, let's do the expect element. Things are looking pretty awesome. And let's come down. We have to target the mobile menu. Display is going to be block, and here we have that. So let's turn it to true. Okay, provide this exclamation mark, and here we have that. Okay, and now let's start styling this. Okay, position is going to be fixed, z index on top of everything, and background color is going to be our primary color, inset 00, and we'll have a line item center. Padding top is going to be 4 RAM. We'll target the mobile menu button. Padding top is going to be 2 RAM, and we'll come here. So our still the active state is not working, and this is the problem we have here. Okay, it's I. Okay, I. And here, from here, we have to remove this extra bracket, and because of this we're having this issue. Okay, simply save it, and now reload the browser, and boom, you can see our active state is working fine. Looks pretty good, but it looks weird on a mobile device. We have to fix this, not a big deal, we can do that very easily. Okay, things looks pretty good so far. Things are looking good. Now let's provide this. Okay, it's came back again. Okay, remove this, reload the browser, and here you can see it's working fine. Okay, but they're very close to each other. We have to make a little bit space. Okay, so let's make it side by side, and we have to grab this one, and that's what we're going to target. And we'll say margin top is going to be 1 RAM, so it will have some space. You can see it's looking perfect, and it's not working. So let's come here, and here we have to turn back to the false. Remove this one, save it, and if you click open close, or navigation is working fine. Okay, you can look, it looks beautiful. It looks beautiful. So reload the browser, and if I click on this, nothing is happening. Why so? Let's come here. Let's try to find out in our console. Okay, here we are getting something. So let's click on this. Okay, here we are getting an error. It says syntax error. So I made some mistakes in my code, and because of that we are getting an error. Simply click on this. So this is the error message we are getting. So there is a problem we have in our API feature. So let's come here. From here we are getting the error. In this function we have the problem. So let's come here, go back to this API feature, and here we have an issue. Okay, so you can see this function is looking pretty good, no problem we have in it, and this looks good. Okay, here we have the problem. Okay, so make sure you have to make the order in right way. Okay, so this is the order we are following: chat app ABI. Okay, so simply grab this. First the address will come. Okay, so that's the one thing will come. Actually I was stuck for half an hour, and I was trying to find out that what's the problem is happening in our code, why it's not working. But what I have found that this is the issue we have. Okay, so you can see this is the contract. Simply grab this code and place after address. Okay, so we have to place after that, copy that one and cut this one and paste it, and now it will work fine. Okay, if you reload the browser, because when we are reloading the browser we are calling one function in our context API, and in that function there is a one function we are calling from the smart contract, that's called get username. Okay, and because of that we are getting this error message. Okay, so we'll fix this later. Okay, everything is working so far, is good. We are getting this error message. That means we are successfully interacting with the smart contract, and whatever code we have written, that's working absolutely fine. Okay, you can expand this and you can have a look at what exactly going on. Okay, things are looking pretty good. That looks pretty awesome. Okay, that's how it look. Let's come back to the code, bring this down, and let's close this one, and let's come back to the component, and we can go back to this navbar, and now we can start working on the model. Okay, so this is the entire navigation we have here, and here we have taken this model and error message, which we're going to use in our in our navbar as well. Okay, so let's create the model first. Okay, so let's come here all the way down, and we're going to do it right up here. Okay, so we'll take this component, model component. If open model is true, then we only display this component. Okay, so we'll have this div. It will have a class called, let's say, model box, and that we're going to use the model which we have created, model component, and in this we're going to send the props, and in this model we're going to pass props, because we're going to use this model in two places: one at the time of creating account and at the time of adding friend. Okay, so I want my model to dynamic. Okay, so let's send the props. So first thing, we have send this open model. We'll set open models. We'll have to send the title of the model, so welcome to. We have to send the head, chat body. We have to send the info. So I'll come here, I'll take this paragraph and I will take Lauren some dummy text. Simply grab this text and paste here and delete this one. Okay, so this is the info we have. Now we'll take this small text, small info, and that will say kindly select your name. We'll take the images, and we'll get this image from the hero. Okay, and we'll have this function name, because in both the places we're going to call two different function when the user will create an account and when they will going to add a friend. Okay, so in this we're going to pass this create account function. Okay, so that's the props we are sending here. Okay, so we need couple of more data, I think so. So we have this account, username, and connect wallet. Let's come back to the context, and here we go to receive this create function. Okay, create account, and we need to receive this error component as well. That looks pretty good, no problem we have so far here, and things looking good. Now let's come here, we're going to take this error component. So if we have an error message, if we don't have an error message, then we don't want to display, but if we do have an error message, then we want to display the error component. Okay, in that we're going to simply pass the error as a prop. So these are the two components we are here. Things are looking good. Now we can simply come here in our style file, and here we're going to target that our model box will say something like position is going to be fixed, insert 000. It will have a background color to our primary color. It will have a Z index, so it will be on top of everything, 77. Now that looks pretty good. And the same thing we have to do in our media query. So we'll say box position is going to be absolute, insert 0 minus 70% and 0. Okay, so that's how it will look here. If I try come here, so things are looking good here, no problem we have here. Let's close this one, and to show you that things are working fine, let me turn this to true. Okay, and save it, and here you can see, boom, it's working fine. So to show you it's working fine, let's try to type a text. So let's get into the model component, and in that we're going to simply type, let's say, model, and here you can see it's working fine. And now we're going to receive the props which we have sent in our model component. So let's save it. Let's come here, and we have to grab one by one. So let's come here and simply copy this open model, pass here. We have to simply pass this title. So let me do it very quickly. Head, info, so this is all the props we have here. Now we have to import a couple of things from React: use state, use context. We have to import the image. Now we have to do the internal import, so we have to import the style file that's coming from the same directory. Now we have to import the images that's coming from the assets folders. We have to import the, let's say, come here in the context, we have the context, what is the name, chat app context, copy and paste here, and that's coming from the context, chat app context. Okay, Now we have to import the loader. Okay, so and that's coming from the index, component index, from dash component index. So these are the external and internal import we have here. Now we can simply come here. We have to define a couple of use states. So first thing we need is the name. We need the, let's say, account address, and we have to import the data. So we need the loading state, and that's coming from the context. Okay, chat app context looks pretty good. Remove this and take a div. It will have a class called style.model. We'll have another div, model dash box. Inside that we'll have another div. It will call model box left. We replicate it. This will come right. In the left we're going to add the image. So src, we're going to display the hero image. Actually we have here the image. Okay, so we have this image and we have this image. So what I want to do, let's come back to the navbar, and here you can see we are passing the props. So images, I want to remove this s. Okay, grab that, copy and paste, replace this and replace it here. So we have the image. Alt buddy, you can type whatever you want. Width is going to be 700 and height is going to be 700. Now let's work on the right section. We'll take this h1. We have the title. We'll have the span. Inside that we're going to take this head. Okay, that's what we have here. We'll come down. We'll take this paragraph. In that we're going to tag this info. Down below we're going to take this small. It will have the small info, and down below we're going to have another div, because we want to take, and now we're going to take the input from the user. Okay, so we'll have a div. It will have a class called style model box right name, and in that we'll have another div. It will say style model box right name info. In that we'll have the image. We'll say source image. We have the username. Alt tag is going to be user. Width is going to be, let's say, 30, and height is going to be 30. Now we have to take the input, so we can take the data from the user, and it will be, let's say, type text. It will have the placeholder. Will say your name. It will have on change function. In that we have to simply update that. Okay, so state name. Okay, and that's the name we're going to assign to our e.target.value. Okay, so here we are assigning that. Simple, nothing complicated. We'll come down and we're going to simply we need one more input field. So for that we're going to simply replicate this and paste here. Okay, and we have to change this data. So we'll change this to account, and here it will become set account address, and here we have to change this to dynamic one. Okay, so here we're going to display the account address, and we have to display this enter address. Okay, so when someone will try to add a friend, in that we want to display the enter address, but when someone try to create an account, on that time we want to display this address of him, and we display this empty input for the entering the name. Okay, so simple logic, it will make sense. Just walk along with me. So that's the entire logic we have. We don't have the account, so we have to send it as a prop address account. Okay, now simply change this one is, let's say, open box. Okay, make sure to do this. Simply copy and come back here, change this one, and now we have to simply receive the address as well. Okay, things are looking pretty good. Not a big deal. Now let's come down. Here we're going to take another div. It will have a class called style navbar box right name button. In that we're going to take this button. It will have an on click function, and the function we want to call is this function name, and in that we're going to pass the name and the account address. And okay, here we have that data, name and the account address, and we're going to call, let's say, we'll have a space and we'll call, say, image. We'll have an image and image dot send. It will have all text send. Width is going to be 300, height is going to be 30, and it will have the simple submit text. Okay, so this is the submit function. Now replicate it, and this is called cancel close. and this will become cancel. And here we have to change this function name, so all we have to do is to set open box to false. Okay, so we can close that model. So that looks pretty cool, and that's the only thing we have to do here in the model section, and that's how it's looking. You can see we have the images, and right now you can't able to see the other data because it's down below, because we have hide the scrolling thing. Okay, now let's come here, and things are looking pretty good. Now simply grab the model and let's start working on the CSS part. Okay, so we'll take the model and we'll take the width is going to be 85%, margin 1 rem auto. Model box, we'll say div is going to be fr and 1fr. We'll take this align item center. We'll take this media query only, and max width is going to be 35 em. Width is going to be 90%. Margin is going to be get template column 1fr. Okay, that's how it will look. Now let's start working here. So model box right h1, and font size is going to be 3 rem. Color is going to be our second primary, and we'll have the line height to 0.9. Model box h1 span, and we want to increase the display is going to be block, and font size is going to be 5 rem, so a little bigger. And we have to get the box right small, and in that font size is going to be 1.2 rem. Color is going to be second primary, and we have to get the box right name info. Display is going to be flex, align item center, margin, block is going to be 1 rem, gap is going to be 1 rem, background color is going to be RGB, and 0.25. Padding 1 rem, border radius 0.5 rem, cursor pointer. So things are looking pretty good. You can see things are taking shape. Let's come down. We have to take this right menu info input. Width is going to be 100%. Background color is going to be transparent. Outline none. Border none. Color is going to be our second primary, and we'll take this model box right name button, and we're going to display is going to be grid template column 2 fr, gap 1 rem. We'll target the button itself. We'll say background color is going to be transparent, outline none, border none, color is going to be our primary, and font size is going to be 1.2 rem, and font width is going to be 700. And let's take this text transform to uppercase, and let's assign a background color. Okay, so I want to have my second primary, okay, the light one. Okay, I remove the other one, transparent one, and things are looking good now. Padding is going to be 1 rem, border radius 0.5 rem, and display is going to be flex, align item center, and justify contains center. Okay, and gap is going to be 1 rem, cursor pointer. Okay, so things are looking pretty good. You can see it looks beautiful. Okay, now we have to work on the media query. So we'll target the model box right h1, and we'll say font size is going to be 1 rem, line height is going to be 1.2 rem. Okay, model box right h1 span, and this will become, let's say, font size is going to be 2.5 rem. That is smaller. Beautiful. And we'll target the name button. Display is going to be grid column 1 fr, z index highest. Okay, that looks pretty good. And we can come here. We have to make it 95. Sorry. So that looks pretty good. You can see pretty big. This looks good. And this is how we look on a desktop. 100% responsive for both devices. If I click on this, nothing is working. Okay, we have to make it work. And the reason why it's not working, we have to come back and go back to this, close this one, and go back to this. Come on, where it is. So here we are in the here we have calling the function. So I know what's the problem is happening here. So let's come here in the nav bar, and here you can see here we have to remove this, and now it will work fine. Click, and now we can close, open, close, open, close. Things are looking pretty good, and this model is looking absolutely fine. And let's try to add the loader, okay, because when the transaction will get completed, okay, when the user will register themselves in this application, so that the the function will take a little bit time, okay. So we have to display the loader, okay. So let's take a dynamic block and we'll say if loading equal to true, then we want to display the loader component, okay. Simply take this and we have to call the loader component, else we want to display the normal component, okay. Take that, simply grab this code and paste inside this, okay. Things are looking pretty good. Hope these things make sense to all of you guys, okay. Things are looking pretty fine. Let's close this one. We are done with this model and now we can start working on this loader, okay. So let's click on this and let's do the internal import. So we'll take this import style. We need the style file. We have to import the image. We have to import the images, and that's inside the asset folder. Here we'll take a div, okay. It will have a class loader. Inside that we'll have another div. It will have a loader box, and in that we'll have the image, okay. Has source image dot loader all tag, and we have to provide the width and the height 100, okay. Not big, pretty small. So that's the loader component. Nothing else we have to do here. Simply come here, go back to the CSS file, and here we have to write a basic CSS for this. So we'll target the loader. Let's say target the loader box. We'll say text align center, margin 1 rem and 0, okay. And that's our loader component working fine. And now we have to work on the error component, okay. Let's come here, because these are the very small component we have to write very quickly and we have to finish it up, okay. Here we have to receive the error as a prop, and here we go to follow the same general convention, okay. So we have the prop and we're going to do the internal import. We have to import the CSS file as well, and that's coming from the same directory. And here we'll take a div class and we'll call it error. Inside that we'll have another div. We'll have a class error dash box, and that will have this h1. Please fix this error and reload browser, okay. And here we're going to display the actual error message, okay. So that's the entire JSX part for this error component. Now we have to work on the CSS. Come back here. We're going to target that error. Position is going to be fixed. Insert 30%, 30%, 45%, and 30%. Z index stop and margin 0 auto. Background color is going to be our, for our primary color, we have the text align center. Border radius 1 rem, padding 2 rem, border radius 50 pixels, and background color is going to be our this second primary, and box shadow. And this is what I have generated from one of the box shadowing tool, okay. So this is the value from where I've got it, and that's the same thing I'm writing here, okay. So I have to praise this value, and it's minus 5%, minus 5%, and 5 pixels, sorry. And here we have to pass the color value, okay. So this is our error component. Let's write the media query for this. Max width 35 em, error, and we have to simply do this 10%, 10%, 55%, and 10%, okay. So that's the entire error component we have. It's looking absolutely fine, okay. Close this one, and this looks pretty good. No issues we have so far here. Close this one, close this one. So far what we have done, we have worked on the model component, we have worked on the error component, we have worked on the loader, we have worked on the nav bar. So we are already done with the 4 components here, okay. So let's come here, and you can see everything's working fine, okay. So currently we are not connected with the application, that's why we are getting this error message, okay. If you reload, we are getting this error message still. Let's do this console log, okay? And if we come here and make this side by side so we can see, so this is the error message we were having, okay. And now it's time to fix this one, okay. So let's come here, and here you can see here we are in this chat app context. So what we can do, so I'm simply logging out the entire error and click here, and here you can see. So this is the problem we are having here. So this error message we are getting from our smart contract. You can see user is not registered. So this is the problem we have. Let's come here, and here we are calling this function. So let me drink. Okay, so here we are calling this function get username, and because of that we are getting this error message. Okay, so simply comment this and now it will work fine. So let's reload the browser and you can see no more error we have, because currently we haven't created an account and we are trying to fetch the name of that user of according to this address. Okay, so things are working fine. Now let's come here. No more error we have here. Simply come here. Here you can see, let's log out and reload the browser, and we are getting this error message because we are not connected, and here the MetaMask is open, and now we can simply log in. Okay, you can see the error logs here. Type your credential. So we are connected with the application, reload the browser, and you can see no more error we have. Okay, so we're going to fix this weird problem. Okay, you can see every time someone will open the application in their browser, this error message will pop up. Okay, but we don't want that kind of behavior. We're going to fix that as well. Okay, so things are looking fine so far, so good. Let's click here and you can see this is the entire our create username model is working fine. Okay, so you can see we have the predefined address and you can type your name. So what we can do, let's create a name. Okay, let's create the user, let's register ourselves into this application. Okay, so I'll type Daulat Hussain, click on submit. Okay, I'm getting this error and I know why this is happening. Okay, so let's come back to the code, and here you can see at the time of creating the account we are checking for the data. Okay, we are checking for the name and the address, but we are only passing name, not the address. Okay, but actually we don't need the address. So what we can do, we can simply comment this part. Okay, we don't need to check it for this. Okay, now if we reload the browser and if I click on this create, and if everything's working fine, now let's type the name. So I'll say Daulat Hussain. Let's click on this and you can see it's working fine. Here we are making the interaction with the smart contract and this function create account. Okay, this looks fine. Let's click on confirm and you can see our loaders got activated, and here we are on the home page. Things are looking fine, and finally we have created our account into this application. Okay, right now you can't see that, but we have that. Okay, everything's working fine. Let's come back here. So if I simply try to uncomment these functions, you will see that I will get the name, my name back. Okay, because this function will only execute if the user is registered themselves into this application. Okay, so let's turn this back and you can just focus on here. Okay, so you can see I got Daulat Hussain. Okay, I got this Daulat Hussain, I got the name. So that looks pretty good. No problem we have. This one is also looking fine. Now what we can do is let's close all this tab, and now we can start working on the get all user. Okay, on the home page. So let's create a page called all user. Okay, in this page we're going to display all the user who have created their account into our application. Okay, so we'll type rfce. We have to create the css file for that, all user dot module dot css. That looks good. Now let's import a couple of things from React: use state, use effect, and use context. That's what we have here. Do the internal import. We have user card, we have that's coming from the index. Now we have to import the style file, and that's coming from the style folder. So where it is, style, and we have the all user models. We have to import the chat app context, and here we're going to simply call the user list. We have to call the add friends, and that's coming from our chat context. Okay, nothing complicated. We are following the same old school logic here. So here we have this functions, we have this user list, and we have this add friend. Okay, so this function will allow us to become friend. Okay, and now we can start working on the JSX part. So div, it will have another div. Inside that we'll have a class called, let's say, all user info, and that will have this h1, will have this find your friend. Okay, that's the title. We'll come out of the div, we'll take another div, and we'll say all user In that we'll have this dynamic. So we have the data of all the user who got registered themselves into this application in this, okay, user list. We're going to map over it. Element I, we have to do instant return. Okay, we'll take a card. Okay, this is the user card component we have created. Okay, and in that we're going to send the data as a prop. So we have to set the key and element and the I, and we have to send the function as well, add friend function, and that's what we're going to pass it. Okay, so that's the entire component here. If you come here, you can see our router is working fine, and here we are back on the home page. It's working fine. You can switch back, come back, forward. Okay, it's working fine. That looks pretty good. So that's the only thing we have to do here in this for time being. Let's come here and we have to do the styling for this. So we'll say info, width is going to be 80%, margin 4 RAM auto, font size is going to be 1.5 RAM, all user, width is going to be, let's say, 80%, margin 2 RAM auto, display is going to be grid template column repeat 3 1FR, gap is going to be 3 RAM. Okay, that looks pretty good. You can see everything's perfectly aligned, everything's working fine. Let's write the media query. Okay, so only and max width is going to be 35 em. We'll target the all user info, width is going to be 90%, font size is going to be 1 RAM, and margin is going to be 2 RAM auto. Okay, let's target the all user, width is going to be 90%, and grid template column 1FR. So that looks pretty good. Okay, things are looking good and 100% responsive for all the devices. Let's do and let's check. You can see it's looking absolutely fine. No more error we have. Okay, so now let's close this one and come back to the user card component, and here we have to receive this props. Okay, simply come here, and here we have to go import couple of things. We need to import the images. Okay, we have to import the images. We have to do the internal import. So we have to import the style file, we have to import the images that's coming from the asset. Okay, now let's come here and we have to receive all these props. So let's receive this element I and this. Okay, we have this props. Let's take this dynamic block and let's start working on the JSX. So we'll take this user card. In that we'll have another div. It will have a called user card dash box. Okay, and we'll have an image. So image, and here we want to assign different images to every single user. Okay, so that's how we can do it in React, in Next.js. So we'll take this array, we have the name of the images. Okay, and we're going to simply change this number. Okay, I+1. You can see if we come back in the asset, you can see all the images I have defined img1 img2. Okay, so I have defined this. If I come back to the index, you can see this is how I'm exporting imag image1 image2. Okay, so I'm only changing the number, and that's what I have talked about in the starting point. Okay, and now we have to add the property. So all tag user width have to assign, height have to assign. So this is also already working. Okay, now let's take another div. It will have a class, let's say user box info. In that we're going to say the name of the user, and we have to display the account address. Okay, so simply comment this and let me show you that what data we have got. Okay, so just remember that I have already created my account. Okay, so here I'm going to log out the data element, okay, in which I have the data of the user. So let's come here. You can see right now we're displaying this image because we have one account. Here you can see that. You can see here we got this array. You can see it says 2 array, but we have the one data. Okay, so we have the name, we have the account address. Okay, that looks pretty awesome, and that's what we are trying to display right up here. Okay, so let's comment this one, and we have this element dot, what is the name we have? Okay, sorry, my bad, comment this out, and let's get back the name. So the name, we have this account address, copy and paste here. If we come here, you can see here we got the images, we got the name of the user who registered. So I'm Daulat, I register myself, and this is my address. It's looking fine. Okay, And I want to add more thing. I want to slide this down, so I don't want to display the entire message. I want to display on 25, and I will have a button, so when someone will click on this button, he or she will become friend. Okay, so it will have an on-click function, and we have the add friend function here. Okay, simply that's what we're going to call, and we have to pass the data. So we have to pass the name, and we have to pass the address. Okay, so here I'm passing in the form of object. Okay, so name, and we have to pass the account address, which we have inside this element dot account address. Okay, so make sure you have to pass this in this way format, because if you come in the add, that's the exact data type we are following here, the convention we are following here. Okay, you can see we are doing all of this, looking absolutely fine. And let's type this message, sorry, name, add friend, and we'll take one more. We'll take this span, and it will have a class called number, and it will take this I plus 1. Okay, so this will tell me that, like, what is the count of the user. Okay, you can see right now we are getting this error message because you can't be friend to yourself. Okay, so this is my account, and I'm trying to become a friend of mine. Okay, so that's not possible. So that's why we are getting this error message. Okay, so the entire logic is working fine. Now what I want to do, I don't need to check for this data. Okay, so I can simply comment this part. Okay, I don't need to check this. Okay, now if I reload, no more error I have. You can see everything's working fine. If I click, I'll get this error message because I can't be friend to myself. Okay, so our logic is working fine. Okay, it's working fine. You can come and you can see that what the problems you're having. Things are looking good. Now we can simply come here and we can start styling this card component. Okay, so we'll take user card. Let's make this side by side so you guys can see what we are working on. We'll say background is going to be RGB 0.25. We'll have the border radius 0.5 RAM, text align center, padding 1 RAM, position relative, user card box image, and border radius 50%. And I forgot to assign the classes to the images. Let's assign that. Copy and paste here. So it's looking fine. Now let's come here. User card box info, line height 0.6, user box info button. Color is going to be this background color, and color is going to be this our second primary. Width is going to be 50%, padding 1 RAM, border none, border radius 0.5 RAM, font size 1 RAM, cursor pointer. You can see everything's working fine. Open, close, things looks beautiful. Okay, it's already taking shape. Let's take the num. Position is going to be absolute, right 1 RAM, padding 1 RAM, 1.3 RAM, border radius 50%, background color is going to be our second primary, and top is going to be 1 RAM. That's how it will look, pretty good, you can see, and that's how it will look. So right now we have one user and we have displaying their data. Okay, things are looking good. You can switch front and back, things beautiful. Close this one, and come here. So we're done with the most of the part, but now comes the most important things, which actually creating the chat functionality. We have already created that. Now we have to simply add that. So that's what we're going to do here inside this friend. Okay, so let's close this folder, and here we have this call filter component. Okay, so let's start working the filter component first. And this one is very simple. We have to import a couple of things from React. Okay, use state and use context. We have to import the image. We have to do the internal import. We have to import the style file. We have to import the images. Okay, now we have to import the card chat app or context, and that's coming from our context department. Okay, context. Okay, we have to import the model, and this model will attach to add friend. Okay, and that's coming from our index. things are looking pretty good. Now let's start working on here. So we have to import the data. So use context, app context, and in that we're going to use the account, and that's coming from here. Okay, that's the account we have. Okay, that's also we're going to import. Let's take this use state and we have to define. So we need the add friends false. Let's start working on the JSX now. Take a div, it will have a class called filter, it will have another div, it will have a fly filter box. Inside that will have a div, it will say filter box left, and we'll have another one right. In the left section we'll have another div, it will have say filter box left dash search, and that will have the image. So we'll have the search image, alt tag. We have to assign the width is going to be 20 and height is going to be 20. And that we're going to take a input, so user can search. It will have a type to text. It will have a placeholder, so we'll say search. Okay, that's it. And now let's come here on the right hand side. We'll have a button. It will have the images. We'll search. We'll say image dot clear. Alt tag is going to be clear. Width is going to be 20. Height is going to be 20. And it will also have a text called clear chat. Okay, simply replicate it. This will become, let's say, add friend, and we have to change the, it will have a on click function, so we'll have to call this function, say set, okay, set add friend to true. Okay, this looks pretty good. And we'll come here and we're going to call this model component, okay, because that's the component we're going to display. So let's take a div dynamic block. We'll say add friend. Okay, if the add friend is true, then only we want to display this model component. Okay, so we'll take this div and it will have a class called style dot filter model, and that we're going to call this model component, and we have to send the props. Okay, so first thing we have to send this open box, and then we have to send this set add friend title welcome to, we have to send the head, and this will become, let's say, chat buddy. Now we have to send the info. We'll type this low response, simply copy, and that's what we're going to say. Remove this one, and we have to take this small info, and that we have to pass this kindly select your friend name and address. Okay, we have to send the images, so we'll say image hero image, and we have to send the function name. So the function we want to call this add friend. So these are the props we are sending and receiving in the component. So it's already working fine. Okay, as you can see, if we reload the browser, okay, that's weird, nothing is here. Here we can see, but here we don't have anything. Oh, I guess why it's happening. Okay, so that's look absolutely fine. So let's come here and we have to get back into this in the pages in the index, and here we have to call this component. Okay, so let's come here, we have to import the component. So we have to import the, let's say, filter and the friend component, because those are the two components we're going to display in this index. Okay, and that's coming from the, let's say, component slash index. So we have this components. Now I want to simply come here, comment this to one, because right now we don't need this. If we need, we can definitely uncomment this. Okay, let's write this JSX path. Simply remove this one. We have to take this div. It will have the filter component and it will have our friend component. Looking fine. If we save it, come back here, and here we are getting an error message. Okay, so maybe I have done in a spelling mistake. Okay, cart app context. Okay, I think I have done my spelling mistakes. So to fix this, simply copy this one, and that's the problem we have done here in the filter. Okay, and that's what I'm going to paste here. Simply copy this, and okay, here is the problem we have. It's not X, it's C. Okay. I realized that I made a spelling mistake in the context. It's context, context. So I wrote the right spelling, but in the entire application we have used C instead of X. So let's go with the wrong spelling. I hope you guys have noticed this. So it's working fine. Okay, if you relate, you can see this is our filter component. Okay, if you click on this add friend, you can see this is the model we have open, and the data is changed. Like, kindly select your friend and name, your name, and the enter address. Okay, looks fine. Looks fine. Okay, now we can start styling this portion. So that looks pretty good. Now let's get this filter, and now we have to style it up. So we'll type the filter. Width is going to be 80%, margin 1 rem, auto, filter, box, display flex, justify content, space between, filter box left, search, display flex, align item center, gap 1 rem, border radius 2 rem, padding inline 2 rem, 1 rem, background color RGB 00002.25, color is going to be our second primary. Let's add a media query only, and max width is going to be 35 em. Filter is going to be, width is going to be 90%, box is going to be filter direction column, gap 1 rem. Let's come here, and we have to target the filter box, left search, input, background color is going to be transparent, outline is going to be none, border is going to be none, padding is going to be 1 rem, and color is going to be our second primary color. Width is going to be 20 rem, so that's how it will look. Pretty good. Let's come here. We have to target the filter box right. Display is going to flex. Gap is going to be 1 rem. Box right button. Background color is going to be RGB. This outline is going to be none. Border none. Padding 1 rem, 2 rem. Color is going to be our second primary. Border radius 2 rem. Font width is going to be 700, and display is going to be flex. Align item center, that's how it will look. Pretty good. Cap is going to be 0.5 rem. Okay, we have to target the filter model. Position is going to be fixed. Insert 000. Background color is going to be our primary color, and Z index is going to be this number. Okay, that looks pretty good. Not a big deal in that. If you reload the browser, you can see it's looking good. We can come into the media query, and we'll target that filter box. Filter model, position absolute, insert 000. This looks fine. You can see we can easily able to scroll, and things are looking pretty good. Now let's come here, and we have to take this button. Font size would be 0.5 rem, so that looks pretty good. I think why the button is not working. Okay, let's keep it like that for time being. You can see everything is working fine. You can come, you can click on this. Okay, I have given this delete image. I think I have to change the image. So let's come here, and the image I want is, let's say, account, not this one. I need this username, not this one. I need this user account, no, not this one. I want user. Okay, I guess user is the right image. User. Okay, I got it. This one. Look, this is pretty fine. If you click here, we have that, and close it. Okay, so right now we have this one friend. Okay, which is myself. I have created this account. Now let's come here, and this time what I want to do is, let's come here and let's switch to the next account. Okay, let's switch to account number 3 and let's create an account. Okay, so we have to, so if you have no accounts in your MetaMask, simply copy and paste the accounts from your, like from your terminal. All the 20 accounts which Hardhat provides you, simply copy the private key here and import it. Okay, I have already imported a couple of accounts, that's I'm going to use it here. Okay, so I'm going to use this account number 3, and make sure you have to remove the history. And this is the problem we have in MetaMask. Okay, if you don't do that, the transaction will get failed. Reload the browser, and you can see that we are getting this error message. We're going to fix this one. Okay, please fix this error and reload. Please install and connect wallet. Okay, click on this and let's reload this one. Okay, and again we are getting this error message. Let's do the inspect element, and what I want to do is, let's come back here and where we are calling that function. So here we are, and so here we have this. So this is the functions which is causing the problem. So simply comment this, and now you will not have any issues. Okay, it's looking fine. Create account, and I have to call the name. I want to say Schwab by. Okay, click on submit, and here you can see we are interacting with the smart contract. Click on confirm, and boom, here you can see we are redirected to the home page, and here we have created one more account, Schwab by. Okay, it's working. Let's switch to account number 4 and let's create one more. You can see it's looking beautiful. Okay, we have this different avatar. Let's create it, and this time I want to call this Ryan. Hit enter, confirm, and boom, here. So here we have Ryan as well. Okay, so we have created this 3 account, and this is the account which I have. Okay, Ryan, and right now you can see we don't have the name. And now if I comment out this, you can see I got Ryan back here. Okay, so right now I'm connected with this account Ryan, and let's make a friend. So the friend I want to make with Daulat. Okay, so let's come here, and here we are calling this add friend function. Confirm, and here the transaction went successful, and now we are friend. Now Ryan is friend with Daulat, and that's the friend list we're going to display here. Okay, on the right hand side, sorry, on the left hand side. So things are looking fine so far. Things are looking good. Now that's how it will look on a mobile device, 100% responsive. And now we can simply close this one, and we can start working on the friend. Okay, so here we have this friend component. In that, okay, all the things are looking good. Now we have to create 2 more folders, 2 more components here. Okay, so let's create a file folder, and we'll call it card. And in that we have to create the JSX, and we have to type RAFCE. We have to create the CSS file for this card as well. So card.module.css. Okay, simply import that CSS file here. That's looking fine. So we have the CSS file as well. Simply close this one, and now we have to create one more, which is a chat component. Okay, chat. We have to create the JSX file for this. RAFCE. We have to create the CSS file for this as well. So module.css. Okay, that looks good. Now we have to import the CSS file as well here. So that's coming from the same directory. Close this one, and now we can start working on this card component. Okay, so now we're going to import couple of things from React. So looking so far so good. We have to take this use effect. We have to import the images. We have to import the link, and we have to do the internal import. Okay, actually we already have this internal import, and here we're going to import this images that's coming from the assets folder. Okay, and that's what we have here in the card component. Let's come here and go back to this friend component. Okay, in this we're going to import those card component and the chart component and all the data here. Okay, so let's do a couple of import from the React. So use state, use context. We have to import the images. We have to do the internal import. So style coming from the same directory. We have to import the images, we have to import the card component, and we have to import the chat component, okay, which we have in the same directory. Okay, chat/chat. Okay, so these are the internal external import we have. Now let's import the our chat app context, and that's coming from the context. Okay, so far so good. Now we can simply start working on here. Okay, so let's come here. We have to take this data array 1 2 3 because we want to render as a demo data. Okay, so that's why we are taking this demo data. Okay, actually we have the data. Okay, so we can simply import the data. So let's come here, and we have all the data here in this. Okay, so we're going to import one by one. So send message, and that's coming from this context. And let's import all the data. We need account, and what else we need? We need this friend list, and we need this read message, and we need this we need username, and we need this loading. And what else do we need? Last one is this current username. Copy both this one and paste it here, username and user address. Okay, so these are the three things we have here. Now I think we need this read user as well. Okay, so these are the props we are receiving from our context data. Sorry. Okay, simply comment this one because we have the data in our friend list. So now we can start working on the JSX. Okay, we'll take a div. It will have a class called friend, and that will have another div. We'll say friend dash box. Inside that we'll have a div. We'll say friend box left. It will have a right. Okay, in the left one we'll have this dynamic block. Okay, so we have this all friend in this. So we'll say, let me console log out and let me show you what I get. Okay, friend list. So currently I'm friend with Daulat, so you will find that data here. Okay, so let me console log out this. So right now I'm friend with Daulat. Let's do the console here, and let's make it side by side so you guys can see. Here you can see I got the logs. Okay, so this is Daulat Hussain. I'm friend with now. Address. Okay, things are looking pretty good. You can see how everything is coming together. And just remove this, and now we can start working on the block. So we'll take this dynamic block. We'll say array. We're going to map over it, and we're going to instantly return. So we'll have a card, which, and in that we're going to send this props. Okay, so will this key, we'll have the element, we have the I, and we have to send this read message. We have to say read this message. We have to say read user. Okay, so these are the props we are sending in the card component. So that's the card component. Now let's come here in the right, and we have to call this chat component, and in that we have to pass this all this data. Okay, function name, and the name we want to pass is send message. We want to pass read message. We want to pass this. Let's say what else we want to pass. What else we can pass? So there we have the data. Let's come here. We have to get this friend message. Okay, copy, and that's what we're going to pass here. So let's send this as a props. So these are the three props we have, and we can pass the account as well. We can pass the username because we need all these data. Okay, we have to pass the loading states, loading, and we have to pass the current username, and we have to pass the current user address. Okay, so these are the address. These are the props we're going to receive in the chat component. Okay, so that's looks pretty good. So far so good. Now we can come here, and here we go to receive the props. So let's do it very quickly. Element I, and we have to read user as well. Okay, so things are looking pretty good. Now that's the only thing we have to do here in the friend. So here we are back in the card component, and now we can start working on the JSX. Okay, so we'll have a div. So we'll have a link, and it will have this href, and we have to set the couple of properties. So path, the path we want to redirect to the home page, and we have to send the query as well. Okay, so query, in that query we can send the data. Okay, we want to send the name, and we have to send the query, and in that query we're going to send name and the address. So we're going to fetch that query and we're going to render the data on the base of this name and the URL. Okay, so that's the entire logic. So we'll say name, and here we're going to say, let's say address, and we have the address in this element dot pub key. Okay, public key. So that looks pretty good. Let me show you the data. So element, and you can see that's what I have here. Let's reload the browser, and okay, so okay, what's the problem we have here? So here we are in this, and here we have, you can see we have this pub key. Every friend will have this unique one, and that's what we are doing here. So far so good, but what's the problem? Let's come here, let's start working on the JSX. Okay, so we'll have a div, it will have a class called card, and that will have another div, will have a card dash box. Okay, it will have the card component will have an on click. Okay, and in that we have to simply call this one. Okay, read message, and in that we have to send the address, and we have to simply call this function as well, read user information. Okay, okay, that looks pretty good. So we'll have another class, and card box left and right. In that we'll have this image, we'll have to pass this image, username, alt tags. I'm going a little faster because these are the general things you guys are already familiar. Okay, so here we're going to take the class name, so style, card box left, image. Okay, and here we're going to take a div, it will have a style, card box right middle, and that will take this h4, it will have the name of the user, and it will have the, let's say address of the user, and we have to slice it down. We don't want to display the entire address, 21. Okay, that's pretty good. Let's take a small, here we'll come and we'll take this div, it will have a class called style, and we'll take this card box right end, and it will have this i+1. Okay, simple logic. Let's come here, and if I reload the browser, okay, nothing is displaying. Why so? What's happening? Oh, I know why. What is the problem? Let's come here, and we have to simply, that's these things are looking good, but before we do that, let's start styling the friend component. Okay, friend, the main component. Okay, let's start styling that part. So that's copy and simply start dialing. So we'll say width is going to be 80%, margin 1, auto, friend box, display grid template column 1.4 fr and 3 fr, gap is going to be 2 ram, friend box left is going to be, let's say, background color RGB, and this is the color we are using. Padding is going to be 1 ram, border radius 0.5 ram. Let's come here, take the media query, max width is going to be 35 em. Okay, friend is going to be 90%, we have box 1 fr. So that's how it will look, but still it's not taking place. And can you guess why it's happening? Okay, because here we have to come in this index, and here we have to uncomment this. Okay, so simply remove the, bring it back, and here you can see we got the component. You can see with the Daulat and the address and the account, because currently Ryan is friend of Daulat. Looking fine. You can see if I click on swear and try to make him friend, confirm, and boom, come back to the chat, and you can see Shoaib is friend to me now. Looking absolutely good. And here you can see we have a problem in the URL. Okay, so we want to send the data in the URL, the name and the address, but it's not working. So we have a problem in that. We have to fix this one. Okay, if we reload and let's do the inspect element, and here you can see we got this data, so it's working fine. We have this to friend list. Okay, that's the public key. Okay, Let's come here and let's go back to the card, and here we have the problem. So this is the query we are sending. We have to take this bracket, remove one, and things are looking good. No, we have to remove this bracket here as well, and we have to take this one. Okay, take the name. Okay, take the name, name this. So okay, make sure to do this change. Okay, make sure to do this change in the query. So we have this name and we have the address. Okay, and we are wrapping it. So make sure to do this change, and now it will work fine. Now if I click here and just have a look on the URL. Okay, if I click on this Daulat, you can see the query is got populated. So we have Daulat Hussain and we have the address in the query. Okay, so we can use this to fetch and render the data in our chat component. Okay, so that looks pretty good. That looks pretty awesome. Let's come back to the code. So that's awesome. Close this one, close this one, close this one, and now we can start styling this component as well. Okay, so we'll take this side by side so you guys can see what we are working on. So we're going to target the we'll target the, let's say, card box. Display is going to be flex, align item center, line height is going to be 0, gap is going to be 1 ram, padding 1 ram 0, and border bottom is going to be 1 pixel solid, and we'll have our second primary gram. Okay, so this is the opacity, less opacity, and we'll have a cursor pointer. Now we'll take this card box right, and display is going to be flex, cap 3 ram. We'll target the right middle, and we'll say margin top is going to be minus 1.2 ram. We'll take this card box left, border radius is going to be 50%. This looks pretty good. You can see this is how it will look, our card, and this looks awesome. Click on this, you can see the data is also changing fine. Okay, let's come back to the code, and that's the thing we have to do here in this card. So now we can close this one, and now we can start working on the chat component. Okay, so here we're going to receive the props. So let's come here and receive all the props which we are sending. Function name, read message, friend message, account, username, loading, current username, and we have this current user address. So these are the props we are receiving. Let's import a couple of things from React: use state and use effect. Okay, import the image, import the, let's say, use router, because we have to fetch the data from the router. Okay, and we have to import the images that's coming from the assets. Okay, we have to import the, let's say, let's come here, and here we are in the utility, and this is the function we have created. You can remember this is the convert time we have created. Okay, and that's the function we're going to import. Simply copy and import here, and that's coming from the API. Okay, API utility features. So that's all the imports we have. Now we have to import the loader, because we have to display the loader when the message will send. So these are the all internal external import we have here in the chat component. Looks pretty fine. Now we have to come here and we can take this use state. Okay, so we'll take this use state, we'll say message, we'll take the another one, we'll say chat data. Okay, and this data will get from the URL. Okay, so we'll say name and we'll say the address. We'll come here, we'll say const use router, and we have this router. We'll call this use effect, and that we're going to call this if router is not ready, then we have to return this. But if the router is ready, then we have to set the data. Okay, router query. Okay, so that looks pretty fine, and it's gonna be named router query is ready. Okay, so that's the entire logic we are doing. Now let me show you what the data we get. Okay, let me console log out this, and we get the chat data address, chat data name. Okay, now if I do the console log, and let's come up here and You can see here we got the data, we got the address, we got the name Shabai, and that's what we are getting from the URL. You can see the moment you will reload and you will get the data. Okay, it's working fine. Okay, it's working fine, but right now it's not working on the click event, but we have to reload. Okay, we got to fix this weird behavior. Okay, so it's working fine. We are getting the data from the URL and we are updating in our states. Comment this. Now let's start working on the JSX. We'll take a div, it will have a class, we'll say chat. Another div, it will have a let's dynamic block. We'll have a dynamic, we'll say if we have a current user and we have a current user address, then only we want to display this block. Okay, class, we'll say chat user info. In that, otherwise we don't need to display anything. Okay, empty. And that we're going to take this image, source image, we'll say account name alt, okay, that's the image we have here. Let's take a div, and in that we're going to display the information. So we'll display the name and the address. Okay, we'll say chat user info box, and then we'll take this h4 and we'll have the current username, and it will have the current, will have a p tag, because I want to hide this on a mobile device. I don't want to display the address in the mobile, so that's why let's say show, and in that we're going to display the address. Okay, current address, and we have to simply looking good. So that's the very first component we have. Now let's come here, we have to take another div, it will have a style, we'll say chat box, in that we'll have another div, we'll say chat dash box, in that we'll have this div, it will have a class called style chat box left, this will become only left. Let's say, let's come here and we'll take this dynamic block, and here we're going to render all the messages. Okay, so we have the messages inside this friend messages. I'm going to map loop over it. Instant return, we'll take this, it will have a this element. Okay, in that this element we have the address of the person who's sending the message. Okay, if the person who's sending the message and the message who's receiving, if they are equal, okay, if both are equal, then we want to display this dynamic block. Okay, this div. So class style chat box left title. Okay, and let's bring this down, and in that we're going to take this image, we'll take this, provide the source of the image, username, alt tag, width and the height, and down below we're going to take this span, and in that we're going to display this data, name of the user, and I want to display the, let's say, time, okay, when the user is sending the message. Okay, so we're going to call the function. So let's take this, and here we have the function. Okay, remember this is the function we have imported, that's what we're going to use it. Simply copy and call the function, and in that we're going to pass the timestamp. Okay, so element dot timestamp, okay, to number. Actually we don't need to pass this to number, because here if we come in app API, you can see here we are converting that, here we are already converting, so we can send it as a big number. Okay, so that's the one thing we have here. Now what we can do, simply else we want to display this, simply grab this one and same thing we're going to paste it here, but here the change in the condition. Okay, so here what we're going to do is, instead of chat data name we will say username. Okay, means in my case if I'm sending the message, so I'm going to be the username. Okay, and here we'll say time, and here we'll say time. Things looking good so far, so good, things looking beautiful. Okay, now we'll take this p tag, it will have a key and it will have the message, so element dot message. So this will already work. Okay, and inside that we're going to take this dynamic space. So you can see here we are, reload the browser, and if you click on this, you can see here we can see the name. So if we click on the Daulat Hussain, here we get the address, the name of the Daulat Hussain, and if we click here, you can see you can switch back to your friends. Look fine. Okay, you can see this is the URL we have. Simply change this, hit enter. Okay, so that looks fine. Now we'll come here and we can start stalling. Okay, so we'll take this dynamic block. We'll say current username if we have and current user address we have. Then we want to display this send message box. Okay, so in that, else we don't want to send anything. Okay, so here we're going to take this block, and in this we'll take this div, and this div will have a class called style. We'll say chat box send. Inside that we'll have another div. We'll say chat box send. Send, this will become send, and this will become image. Inside that we'll have the image. So we'll say image dot say smile, alt tag. We'll have the width, height. Okay, we'll come here, we'll take this input. Inside that we'll have this type is going to be text, and it will have the placeholder. So we'll say type your message here, and we'll have our on change function, so we can store that data in our message. Okay, set message e dot target dot value. Okay, so we can update our state. And now here we're going to take another image, and this will be the source. We'll say image dot file, alt tags, and where this will have, so the width I want to assign 50, the height I want to assign is 50. So both looks pretty good. Okay, so that looks good. Now we'll take another this dynamic block, and the reason why we are taking this dynamic block, because when the user will click on the send message, we have to display the loader message. Okay, they will say loading is true. If the loading is true, then we want to display the loader component, else we want to display this image. Okay, the send image. So simply grab this part and paste here, and we have to change the name of the image. Okay, and we'll say send, and it will have a on click function. So we'll call this function, let's say function name, and in that we have to pass this data message, and we have to pass the address to whom I want to send the message. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, and that's the entire thing about the JSX. Okay, so that's the only thing we have to do here in the JSX, and that's how it will look. You can see if I simply come here and remove and reload the browser, you can see nothing here, but if you click here, we have all this. Okay, looking fine here, not a big deal. Now we can start working on the style part. Okay, so this is the last component which we are styling. Okay, let's come here and let's start styling it. Let's make it side by side so you guys can see what we are working on. So with this chat, padding is going to be 2 RAM, background color is going to be our primary with opacity, border is 0.5 RAM, overflow Y is going to be scroll, chat box is going to be display is going to be grid template column 1FR, height is going to be 50 VH, width is going to be 80%, margin 0 auto, overflow Y is going to be scroll. You can see we can scroll. Chat box right P, and chat box left P. Background color is going to be our second primary with opacity light, padding 1 RAM, border top right radius 0.5 RAM, and this become the left, and we have to do the same thing for the bottom. Okay, position is going to be, let's say, relative. So that looks pretty good. Let's come here. Display is going to be flex, align item center, cap is going to be 1 RAM, font size is going to be 1 RAM, chat box send image, display is going to be flex, align item center, gap is going to be 1 RAM. That looks pretty good. Chat box send image input, width is going to be 100%, background color our this light, outline none, border none, padding 1 RAM, color is going to be our second primary. That looks pretty good. Border radius 0.5 RAM, chat user info, display is going to be flex, align item center, gap is going to be 2 RAM, line height 1 RAM. So that looks pretty good. Okay, we'll say chat user info box h4, and this will become p. We'll say line height is going to be 0. Okay, that looks good. Let's add a media query. So media going to be max, width is going to be 35. That's the one we are following. So chat is going to be, let's say, padding 1 RAM. Chat p is going to be font size 0.8 RAM. And we have to take this chat small is going to be, let's say, font size going to be 0.8 RAM. Show is going to be display height. Okay, we don't want to display the address. Okay, show is going to be display height, and that's how it will look. We have some problem in the images. That's the one we have to fix. Okay, and that's a very easy one, and we can do it. So here we have a problem in the image height. So let's try to find out where it's happening. So here we have things are looking good. Okay, here is the problem. Remove this, not 500, only 550. Okay, so that's looking fine. You can see we can change. That looks pretty good on a mobile device as well. Let's reload the browser, and let me simply change this one and remove this one, and let me show you how it looks. So let's reload the browser. Let's try to test this out. Okay, click on this. Let's come here, and I'm going to take this some Lawrence bomb. Okay, text demo dummy text. Simply grab this one here and simply come and paste here, and now we can make a request. Hit request. Okay, please type your message. Okay, I know why it's the problem is happening. So let's come here. Here we are in the, simply come here in the context, app context, and here we are in the send. Simply remove this check. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Okay, reload the browser, click on this, and we can simply send, and boom, here you can see it's working fine. Now we are interacting with this, and boom, the transaction went successful. We have sent the message. You can see here you have Daulat Hussain, and we have the message, we have the time and date. Everything's looking fine. You can see Ryan, I'm Ryan connected with this account. So I'm Ryan, so the account name is Ryan, and Ryan is sending this message. Okay, look fine. If I call this one more time, and boom, that's pretty awesome. If you click here, so I want to do one small fix, because every time I have to reload the page when the transaction is getting complete. Okay, so we're going to fix this issue. Okay, not a big deal, but things are looking fine. You can see we can easily able to send message. Okay, now what I want, if I go to my Daulat Hussain account, okay, account number 2. So if I go to account number 2, and first thing I have to do, I have to reset my account. And if I hit enter, so currently you find that I'm friend with Ryan, and the account name is Daulat Hussain, is displaying here. If I click on this, and here you can see we got the name Ryan, and here Daulat Hussain. Okay, no, this is not what I want. We're going to change this behavior. It's not Daulat Hussain, it should be Ryan. Okay, so what we can do here, we can simply reload the page. I think this will fix the issue. Click on this, and here you can see it's Ryan back. Okay, we're going to change this behavior, but things are looking fine. Okay, guys should appreciate that things are looking fine. Click on this, and here we have Ryan. Now if you send the message, you can do it very easily. Hey Daulat, click on this, and boom. If you click here you can see here we have sent the message. Hey Daulat, the timestamp. Things are looking pretty good, awesome, and from here you can easily able to add your friend. So you can see these are the 3 friends we have created so far. So far things are looking pretty good, everything's working fine. Okay, let's add some more friends. So we'll take this Shweb Bhai in my friend, click on confirm, and here we got one more friend, Shweb Bhai. So this is Rayan, and this is Rayan we have. Okay, this is Shweb Bhai we have. If we send message to Shweb Bhai, we can do it very easily, and boom, and boom here. Okay, why? Okay, oh, by mistake I've sent back message to Rayan as well. Okay, I have to send message to Shweb. Okay, so let's select this one, reload the browser. We're going to change this behavior. Okay, and let's send the message to Shweb. Hit enter, and boom, 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 and boom. Here you can see we have sent message to Shweb. So things are looking pretty awesome. You can see things are looking pretty awesome, and that's how it will look on a mobile device. You can see 100% responsive, 100% responsive. You can open, you can close, you can go to wherever you want. Okay, so things are looking pretty awesome. Hope you guys are enjoying this. We have built this beautiful application and it's so powerful. Okay, stop the application from running, delete the artifacts and cache, and let's redeploy the contract and let's have a look. Do it from the beginning. Okay, we have to delete this JSONs, and now we can simply start our local blockchain. Okay, npx hard node, and now once it starts we have to deploy the contract. So just wait, here we have that all accounts, and now let's simply deploy the contract. And here we have compiled successfully, and here we have deployed the contract. So let me simply drag and drop the artifact in the context. Let's move it, and now we can initialize the npx run dev. Okay, we have to start the application, and here we have to click on 3000, and here you are. So you can see this is how it will look. Our MetaMask is popped up, and we are getting this error message because we are not connected with this application. That's why we are getting this error message. We're going to fix this one. Okay, so what I can do, I can simply let me connect my wallet with this application, unlock, and just wait. And here I have simply reload the browser, and boom, here I'm getting this error message. So let me fix that. So let's bring this down and let's come back to the context, and the error message we are getting from here. Okay, so fetch data, because as you remember that we have not registered ourselves into this application, and we are trying to fetch the name of the account. Okay, so that's why we are getting that error message. So we can simply remove this error. Okay, actually it's not an error. Okay, so I will simply comment this and it will fix the problem. So that's the fix we can do. Simply reload the browser, and here you can see we have no more error. So make sure you do that because it's not actually an error. Okay, so we can allow the user to click and connect. Okay, we don't want to display the error component. So that looks perfect. Now we can come into the MetaMask, and I will go here and I'm simply log out. If I log out, you can see the MetaMask it pop up. We don't have any error right now, and we can simply log into the applications. Okay, you can see that we are calling this get username function, and still we are not getting an error. Okay, because this function will keep check that in the background. Okay, so it's working fine. Okay, so we'll go in this way. Now everything is looking fine here. Let's come here, provide the credential, and I'll click on unlock, and here we are. This looks beautiful. Okay, we are connected with this application. If we reload the page, and boom, here we are connected with the application. And now let me simply reset this, otherwise it will throw an error and my transaction will get failed. So make sure whenever you change your account you have to do this reset. Okay, so reset, and now I can just create my account. Okay, simply reload the browser and just click here, and I will type Daulat Hussain. Okay, I'm going to create my account. Click on submit. Here you can see we are in interaction with the smart contract create account. Okay, click on confirm, and boom, you can see here we are redirect to the chat page, and here you can see my name is displaying there, Daulat Hussain. Okay, so this is looking fine. If we come back to all user, here you can see this is the user which I have registered and have registered myself. Okay, So it's looking fine. Now let's come here in the MetaMask, and what I can do, I'll simply create couple of accounts. Okay, I'll simply create close to 10 accounts very quickly. Okay, so just watch that with the background music. So here I have created close to 10 accounts. You can see all the accounts which I have. Okay, that's how it will look. Let's come here. Let's go back to the account number 2. Okay, and because I have registered myself as account number 2, let me reset my account. Let's come here and reload the browser. And right now what I'm going to do is right now you can see I have no friend, I have no chat thing. Okay, so I'm going to create couple of friends. So I'll click on this add friend. Okay, and I can add friend from here as well. Okay, so here you can see if I come chat here, I have my one friend Shweb Bhai. Okay, I have this his account address. Let's add couple of more friend. Okay, I'm close to add 6 friend, so let me do it very quickly. You can create as many friends as you want. Okay, here I have created 5 friends. You can create, and now I will click on this Web Buy, and this is the account address. You can simply switch to your friend and you can have chat. Okay, now what I want to do, I'm going to simply take a dummy text and I'm going to start with that because I don't want to write. Okay, simply copy from here, and that's what I'm going to paste here. I'll simply paste and I will try to make a connection, and here you can see we have our MetaMask, and boom, here we are dealing with the send message. Click on confirm, and here you can see we have click here, and here you can see we have the message. We have successfully sent this message to our Shweb Bhai. Okay, and that's from me, Daulat Hussain. You can see we have the timestamp and everything's working fine. If you send one more time, you can see it will send the message to him. So let's send couple of messages because it's really good to see that things are working fine. You can see we are getting this weird behavior that every time we have to click on this, we're going to fix this. Okay, if I click here, I can have the messages. Okay, we're going to fix this behavior. So if I come here in the context, if I go back to the index, and here I have my get all users. Let's go back to the index, and here I have the friend component, and in that I have the chat and the have cart component. Okay, so I can do the fix here. So let's come back to the chat component, and here what I will do, here you can see that we are getting the data from the URL, okay, from the router. And what I want to call this function. So read. So where it is, so we'll call this here we have the name of the function. So we have this read message, and that's the function we're going to call here, and in that we're going to pass this router address. Okay, the person who are we talking with. Okay, we have to pass his address, so every time the page will reload, we'll have the history of the chats. Okay, so that's working fine. If I save here and if I come back to the application, you can see this is the error message I'm getting. Currently you have no error message, and it's actually not an error. Okay, so we can have to remove this as well. So let's reload the browser, and you can see the message is displaying. Okay, and this data we are fetching from the URL. Okay, so the message is displaying absolutely fine, but we are not able to have the name of the person and the address. Okay, we are getting only the message, so we have to call this function as well. So you can see if I reload the page, I can get only messages, but I'm not getting that from whom I'm getting the messages. Okay, from which of my friend I text this message. Okay, so I can fix this very easily. You can click on this, and you can simply do one thing. Let's try to send a text. So I'll say, hey Daulat, I will hit on the request, and you can see MetaMask popped up, and here we have to click on confirm, and boom, Here we have successfully sent the message. Okay, if I scroll down, you can see here I have the message, but I have to display the name to whom I have sent the message. Okay, and that's very easy. We have to call this function read. So we don't have this function here. Okay, so we have a function read user. Okay, so we have to call the functions. So to get the function, what we can do is we have to come back to the cart component, and here we have this read. Okay, read user, this is the function we need. So simply copy that, and that's what we're going to simply come here, and that's what we're going to receive in the chat component, and that's what we're going to call here. And that we're going to pass the address of the person who I'm talking to. Okay, so route.query, in that I have the address. Okay, so that looks fine, and you can see reducer use is not defined. Okay, my bad, so I forgot to add in my friend component. Okay, so to fix this, I have to send this as a prop. So let's come back to the friend component, and here I have to send back as a props. Okay, and now it will work fine. So every time I will redo the page, I will get the name of the person, and I will get the history of the chat. Okay, so you can see now it's working fine. Beautiful. Okay, beautiful. But in this way we have a problem. I'll show you what's the problem we'll have. Okay, so that's working fine. I'll type my message, hey boy. And if you guys haven't subscribed to my channel, do so. This will help me a lot and motivate me that you guys are really liking it. Okay, okay, so that looks pretty good. Okay, that's good, and that looks fine. You can see we have successful text the message, and now let me change the account to see the message I have sent it. So this is account number 3, which is Shoaib's account. Okay, so let me log into that account, and let me clear the history, restore the account. Okay, reload the browser, and boom, here you can see I have one friend. So this Shoaib bhai is connected with me from Daulat, and that's the data I'm getting here. Okay, if I click on this, so here I'm getting the Shoaib name, and if I reload the browser, still I'm getting the Shoaib, but if I click, I'll get all the history. Okay, so there are a couple of small bugs are there in this application. Okay, we can fix that as well. So you can see we got the entire history of this. So the Daulat Hussain sent this message, and from I can send that from as a Shoaib hi. Okay, if you have not subscribed yet to my channel, please do so. That will help you a lot. Okay, if I'll click on this, and here I'm sending the message. So let's send the message, reload the browser, and boom, here you can see I have sent the message Shoaib bye. Okay, that's my account. But if I click on this, let's add a couple of more friends. So let's make a friend with Rayan Akhtar, and here I can click on confirm, and that looks fine. Okay, if I come back to the chat, and this is the problem I was talking about. You can see currently we don't have the name and the address on our chat page. Okay, and because of that we are getting, because we are calling a function to fetch the read information and the data. Okay, and because of this we are getting an error. Okay, because we don't have the name and the account address in the URL. So that's a very easy fix. We can do that. So to fix that, all we have to do is to here we have this read message. So we have to simply change this one. Okay, we have to simply console log out this. So this is the one change we have to do, console log out, because this is not an error. Okay, it's not an error. If a user don't have an messages, it's not an error. Okay, so we can simply save it and reload the browser, and still we get an error because we don't have the address and the name. Okay, and we need that in the chat page. Okay, so let's come here, and you can see right now it will work fine because we have the query in the URL. Okay, so it will work fine. But if we don't have the URL, it will throw an error. So we have to add a guard class on that. So if I come here, if I send a message to something like let's come here, let me take this demo text and simply paste here. Okay, if I send this one, and here I have click on confirm, and here I have the message. Okay, so I have sent the message to Shoaib Rayan Akhtar. Okay, and this is for the Shoaib account. Okay, so again it's working absolutely fine. So let's come here and let's go to the Daulat Hussain account, and let's try to see that whether we have received the message or not. So here you can see that's what I have. I will simply try to, so right now I will simply try to clear the history. Okay, reload the browser, and here we have, if I click on Shoaib by, here we have the information, and you can see all these messages which I have sent. So let's reload the browser one more time, and here you can see we have the message from the Shoaib by. Okay, it will take a little bit time to get. Okay, so finally we got the message back. If I switch, you can switch to, and you can send message to whoever you want. Okay, and let's send the message to Ryan Akhtar. If I reload that and just wait, click on confirm. Okay, the message is not got. Okay, sorry, I have by mistake I've selected to this. Okay, let's select Ryan and reload the page. And this is the one bug we have. Okay, because every time we have to reload the page, we have to fix this one as well. Okay, so let's click on confirm and let's make that. And here you can see this is shared by the messages which we have sent from Daulat Hussain. Okay, Daulat account. Okay, and from here you can easily able to create a friend. From here you can easily able to add your friend. Okay, and you can see everything's working fine. Let's close all these tabs and let's try to check all the things are working fine. We have no issues in this. You can easily able to send friend, you can easily able to send the message to your friend. Like all you have to do is to select this. If I come back to the like all user, and you will see this is the problem I was talking about. So right now we have all these friends, but if I see on mobile device everything is working fine, it's 100% responsive for all the devices. Okay, this is the problem we have, because right now we don't have that name and the address in the query, and we are trying to call the function on the base of the query. Okay, so that's why we are getting this error. Okay, so to fix this, all we have to do is to come back to the index page, and here we have to run a use effect, and this time we have to look for the if. So we're going to cut this portion, and we'll say if chat dot address. Okay, so if we have the address in our object chat data, then we want to call this function. Okay, and this will fix the problem. So you can see if we reload, come back and reload the page, and if we'll click on this, and you can see no more error we have. If you click, and you will get the data. Okay, it looks fine. Okay, and that's how things will work. Okay, it will work fine. You can see all the data we are getting here. If you click on this, you can easily able to send the message to your friend and click on confirm. Okay, that looks pretty fine. You can see we have all these messages and things are looking good. We are done with this. Now let me simply open GitHub and let me push this entire code to GitHub so you guys can get it. Okay, so let me type GitHub. This is my repo. Come back here, and I'm going to create a repository by the name Blockchain Chat App. Okay, I'll say Chat App. It will be public so you guys can get it. And now I have to initialize this command. Simply copy and close this one. I have to delete this git folder from here, and I have to simply initialize the command. So stop the application from running. Okay, and I will say git init, git add. Oh, I forgot to add the dot, and that I have to paste, come back, copy the branch, paste, and come back the location, and simply push this code. This will happen very quickly, and the code is uploaded to GitHub. And if I reload the page, and here you find all the code we had here. Okay, so if you go to this assets folder, in this you will have all the images. Okay, you will find all the images which we are using in this project. Okay, so everything's working fine. So make sure come and give a like if you really like my work. Here you will find all the project which we have worked on, and just open up your browser and type Daulat Hussain. Okay, because I have powerful resources on my website as well. Okay, so this is my website. Click on this, you'll come to my site, and here you will have a lot of projects. Okay, these are the projects we have already built. So NFT marketplace, we have Web3, Etherscan clone, okay, chat application, or online voting organization, e-commerce. So all these projects which we have built, so you guys can come and have a look from your end. And if you like any one of these, you can easily able to check from your end. Huge product. I know that you guys have learned something. So I believe that you guys have learned something really important in this complete project, that how you can build any kind of application, whether it's a chat application or an e-commerce store or any kind of contract big project on the blockchain. Okay, the possibilities are endless. You can build any type of application, and I believe that if you guys really build this application, you will have a lot of understanding that how to construct the smart contract, how to pass the data, how to fix the problem, how to communicate with your Ethereum node, and how you can run your own node and fetch the data, all those things. So hope you guys have learned something new. If you really have any question, any doubt, do leave in the comment section. And if you're watching this video for the very first time, and if you're new to my channel, hit like and subscribe. That will motivate me a lot to come up with this project. Okay, so make sure to watch the complete playlist, and I have a complete playlist on e-commerce like NFT marketplace. You can watch that, where we have built the smart contract, where we have built the front end, we have built the entire API. Okay, so we have a lot of cool things on my channel, so you guys can have a look from your end. So hope you guys are having a great day. So that's the only thing I want to cover here. Hope to see you in the next video. Have a wonderful day. All of you, welcome back once again. I hope all of you are doing great. I got an amazing feedback in our decentralized chat application we have built on the channel. Hundreds of students have followed it, and they have learned, and they have built this complex application which provide communication in decentralized way. Some of the students were getting a little bit error, so I thought let's make a dedicated video where I can show you and optimize the code, so you don't need to make a lot of changes. All you have to do is to simply start running the code. So you can simply come back here and you can watch the complete project. In that, we have explained extensively that what we are building, how the contract is got designed. So make sure to follow the complete project. You can simply come back to the source code section, and you can simply type Chat DApp, and you will find the application. This is the one. You can simply click here, and you can able to get the starter file and start following this complete project. But those of you who have taken the final source code, I'm going to give you a quick recap that how you have to do the setup and what update I have done. So once you will download the final source code, you will get the zip file. So make sure to re-download it, because I have done the basic update, so you don't need to make a lot of changes. All you have to do is to simply provide the name of the network, and every single configuration is automatically done, which I have already explained in the complete project that how you can build that. First, you have to extract this folder. In that, you will have this folder in which we have the complete updated code with the latest network configuration. So this is the one which you have to open in your VS Code. So I'll simply click on this VS Code, and you can see that I have already opened that particular folder, Chat DApp. I'm going to make on the big screens, and let me give you a complete walkthrough about all the update and the setup which I have explained in detail, so you can simply straight away without following the complete tutorial that what are the requirements you need to have. So first thing we have is the assets, in that we have all the images which we have kept for our project. Then we have the component section. In that we have built all of this component like error component, we have filter component, we have the friend component, we have the loader, we have the models, we have a navbar, we have a card, and here we have the index.js. In that we are importing all of this folder and exporting and using in our project. Now simply close this one. Then we have the context management, and this one is a very important section. So here we have to put the ABI of our contract. So we're going to simply deploy our contract, and we're going to provide the updated ABI. And if you come back to the chat app, you don't need to make any changes here. Every single thing is dynamic. I'll show you how you can test that. And if you come back to the constant, so what I have done, I have taken an environment variable, and from there I'm getting the address of the contract and the network. So you don't need to change anything right up here. All you have to do is to provide the environment variable, and everything would be working fine. So just follow the way I'm explaining. Now I'm going to simply close this one. This is the entire contract we have coded in the project. So I would encourage you to follow the complete project. This will give you a better understanding about the contract. So close this one. Then we have the pages. In that we have the two pages. This one is our global configuration, all user, and index.js. So you don't need to make any changes. Just keep it as it is. Then we have the public, in which we have the icons. Then we have the script. So we're going to deploy our contract into network. First, I'm going to deploy to Ethereum test network hostly, and then we're going to test in our local environment using hard hat. So that's the configuration we have. Now, if you come back to the style, we have this style, custom C styling we have written. Just keep it as it is. Don't need to make any changes. Here we have the test, which you can ignore. Here we have the utils, in which we have the functionality which allow us to get the data, display the countdown. So just keep it as it is. Don't need to make any changes. I'll come back to the most important thing in our environment variable. So simply come back here in .env, and here you have to provide all of this three information. So I'm going to deploy the contract to Ethereum test network, which is hostly, but you can literally deploy to any other network. You can simply provide the RPC URL of that particular network in both of these two places. And here you have to provide your private key of your wallet, which you will use it to deploy your contract. Only these three things you have to provide. These two RPG URL is exactly the same. So simply provide it where you are deploying the contract. But I would suggest you to deploy to hostly and test everything. After that, do the experiment from your end. In the same way, we have to come back to the front-end local environment. So we can click here, and here you have to provide these two things. So first you have to provide the address of the contract. So once you will deploy the contract, whether you are deploying to localhost or Ethereum test network, we have to provide it. So first we're going to test to our hostly. That's why I've given activated this. After that, we're going to test to localhost. So when you are testing on localhost, you have to simply comment this and you have to simply activate this. So the entire configuration will automatically take place. And here you have to provide the address of the contract. But I'm going to bring it back because I'm going to test on Ethereum test network. Close this one. Now, if you come back to the hard setup, here you will find that I have provided all the information about the hard setup which you have to do. So you can see here I have mentioned that the hard account which you will get, you cannot use it in any other test network. These accounts which you will get when you will run the node, you can only use in hard environment, not in the actual network. And when you will deploy the contract, by default, this particular account, the first account like 92226 becomes the admin of the contract. So you have to use this particular node version, which is must. Then you have to install the packages and then you have to run the local node by typing npm run and everything. And this is the network configuration you have to do when you are testing on local environment, which I will show you. And here I have given an important notification that when you testing in the local environment and changing your account from account 1 to account 2, then you have to clear your MetaMask history, because most of you don't do that and your transaction failed, because this is the weird behavior we have in the localhost environment, which keep the history of the previous account, and that's create the conflict, and due to that the transaction get failed, which I will show you everything. So you can see the requirement. If you come back to the hard configuration, so I have done the optimization here. We have done the two setups for local testing and the hostly testing. Perfect. If I come back to the config, just keep it as it is. Here we have the package JSON file. I have done the update. So you can simply run the local node by writing this command. You can deploy the contract by writing this particular command, and you can deploy to Ethereum actual test network by writing this command. And if you want to delete the node modules and the package JSON file and next config file, you can simply run this command, which I will show you. So I hope you have understood what are the updates I have done. You can simply come back to the readme file, and here you will find all the setups, all the requirement, all the assets which you can simply get. That's all you will find right up here. Now let me show you how you have to run the project. So come back here. So we have all of this course. First thing, you have to open up your terminal and you have to check your node version, because we are using Hardhat and Hardhat is not compatible with the latest node version. I'll type node node-v, and right now you can see that I have the latest node version, but when I will try to execute, this project will not work because Hardhat is not compatible with the latest node version. So in this particular video, I have explained that how you can downgrade your node version. So you can come back to the readme file, and if you come back here in the node section, like this is the node version, you can simply watch this video. In that I've explained that how you can downgrade your node version and how you can upgrade your node version, because we need this particular node version. If you don't have this, this project will not work because Hardhat is not compatible with the latest node version. So currently I have this one, so I can simply downgrade it. I'll type nvm use 18.17.1, and this will automatically downgrade my node version to this and my npm version to this. That's the first requirement. Now we're going to deploy our contract to Ethereum test network. So we have to come back to the environment variable, and here I have to simply provide my private key of the wallet which I want to use it. So to get your private key, you can do that very easily. You can simply come back here. You can open a new type Etherscan. And from here, you can add this particular network in your MetaMask. So you can see that I already have this network configured in my MetaMask. So if what I will do, I'm going to simply delete this network to show you that how you can add it manually. So I'm going to simply select and delete, and the network is deleted. I don't have that network in my MetaMask. I will give a reload. Now I have to add that particular network where I want to deploy my contract. So I'll simply click here, click on this hostly testnet, and it will take me to the hostly test network. If you scroll down here, you will have a button called hostly test network. Click on this add, and it's going to do the configuration automatically. So you can simply click on this approve, and here the network is added successfully. Right now, if I show you my hostly network, I can simply close this one and I can simply go back here. You will find the network is added successfully into my hostly. So you can simply check hostly and you will find the fund you have in this particular account. or you can do the manual configuration. There is no problem. So you can simply click on this editing, and from here you can able to edit all of this details. So instead of calling this hostclay test, I can call this hostclay, and I can simply change the RPC URL, because if I want to add my custom RPC URL, I can add that. So I can click on this, and I already have given you the RPC URL. Like I can use this one, copy this one. You can use any other provider, but I'm going with this ARNK. I'm going to simply click on this add and provide this. Click on add URL. So I have added, the chain ID is fixed, the Etherscan is fixed. I can click on this save, and I've added my custom RPC URL. So that's how you can change the RPC URL. If I show you the balance, I already have this much balance. But in your case, if you don't have the balance, you can get the free faucet. So you can come back to the blockchain coder, and you can go back to the resource section. There you will find that we have this get ETH. Click on it. It will take you to this particular website, and you can mine your own free faucet for this particular network to get some ETH, which you can use to deploy your contract. So right now you can see that I have this much token. So you can simply copy the address. You can paste here, and you can simply click on start mining, and it's going to mine the faucet for you. So you can simply transfer that to your wallet. So you can see the start. So the mining got started, and I'm going to wait for a few seconds. Once I will reach 1 ETH, and I'm going to transfer that ETH into my wallet. So just wait, and you can see that I've waited for close to 3 to 4 minutes. And if I open my MetaMask, you can see I have this much fund. I can simply stop the mining, and I can click the fund which I want to transfer. So I can simply click on this stop mining, and it's going to give me this. I have to simply click on this confirm transaction, and this fund will be transferred to my wallet address. So click on this claim reward, and now it's in the queue. Soon the transfer will complete, and I will have the fund in my wallet. So just a moment. Once we'll get the confirmation, we can check in our MetaMask wallet. So the transaction is in the process. This might take a little bit time. So find the transaction is completed. You can simply view in the Hostly scan, or you can simply open up your MetaMask, and you can see the fund went up to 8. So that's how you can claim your faucet, which you can use for testing. So once you're done with that, you have enough fund in your MetaMask. Now you have to get the private key of your wallet. So I'm going to use this particular account for deploying my contract. So I'll simply click here, and I'm going to click on this account detail, click on the show private key, and I'll give my password and click on hold. You will get the private key. Make sure you don't share this private key with anyone, because somehow I exposed one of my account, and I have noticed that all the fund from that particular account is went up, although it was a test fund. So simply copy this one and close. So once you copy your private key, now you can come back here, and that's what you have to provide here. So finally, I have provided my private key, and I have enough fund in my wallet, which I want to use for deploying the contract. Now all the environment's ready for deploying the contract. So if I come back here, you can see this is the network where I'm going to deploy it. So I'm going to bring this up. Now I have to deploy the contract. So if you can come back to the package.json file, and this is the command we have to run, deploy. Now we can type npm run, and I'm going to simply paste this deploy and hit enter. It's going to simply deploy our contract to Hostly network. You can see it's compiling successfully. I got the artifact in that I have the ABI of the contract. So this is the one which we have to provide right up here in the context. So just wait. Once the deployment will complete, we're going to get the address of our contract, and we're going to change the API. So whenever you deploy your contract, you have to provide the updated API. So our contract is deployed successfully to the Hostly network. I'm going to simply close this one, close this one. I'm going to simply copy this, and that's what I have to provide here. Once I provided my contract address, now I'm going to simply clear up my terminal, and I can simply come back here. This is the ABI. I'm going to simply drag and drop here. It will automatically replace with the latest ones. Click on this replace. And that's the entire setup you have to do to test on the Hostly test network. So I'm going to simply close this one. Now I'm going to start the application. Type npm run dev, and this will start our application on Ethereum test network. Copy this one, open a new tab, and you can simply paste localhost, and it's going to start the application automatically. You can see right now I'm not connected. If I show you my MetaMask, I have this. So I'm going to simply log out, and I'm going to simply reload the page. It's going to open nothing. Right now I'm getting this option to connect wallet. I can simply click on this connect wallet. It's going to open this MetaMask. I can simply type my password, and I'm logged into the application. So I'm going to simply give you a reload, and here you can see I'm successfully connected, and I can able to make the transaction. What happened if I don't have this network configuration in my MetaMask? So what I will do, I will delete this network manually knowingly. So I'll simply come back here. I'm going to simply delete this one. and I will reload the page. If I reload the page, it's going to open this pop-up model and it will do the automatically configuration. So we don't need to go to Etherscan and do the configuration. Simply click on approve and it's going to simply feed that in our network. So it's automatically done the configuration. So every single thing is looking good. Right now you can see that we are on the account number 1 and this is the admin. So I'm going to simply clear my MetaMask history because I have changed the network and somehow when you test on the test network, it's keep the history of the previous account. So once you clear your MetaMask history, give a reload and now we are ready to make the transaction. So I'll simply click on this create account and here I will have this option, my address. I can give a name. So I'll say the chain coder. I given the name. I can click on this submit and it's going to make a transaction. You can see it's opening. Click on confirm and the transaction is in the process. Once the transaction will complete, you will find that you will be created your account. You can see that we are calling the create account function. Just a moment. And finally, the transaction is confirmed. And we have created our account and we got our name. You can come back to all user. There you will find that your account is not displaying because you don't want to display yourself. So I want to register from a different account so I can able to show you the transaction. So I can simply come back to account number 2 and I can simply click on this connect. And right now I have enough funds. So I'm going to simply clear my MetaMask history because this is what I have to do every time whenever I want to change my account. Give a reload and right now I'm getting this option called create account. Click on it and I got the address. I can simply call this, let's say Daulat, and I can click on this submit. It's going to make a call and click on this confirm. And the transaction is in the pending. Once the transaction will complete, you will see I will be registered in the platform. So transaction is completed and I have redirected to the home page and here you will find all the addresses. So currently I'm Daulat and I can be friend with this the blockchain coder. I can click on this add friend and it's going to make a call. I can click on this confirm and once the transaction will complete, I will be friend with him and I can able to send the message to this particular user. So just wait and here the transaction got completed and we got that user removed because I'm a friend with him. Now I can click on this chat and I will come back here and I can able to find the friend. I can simply click it and here I have the selection. I can simply send the message, hey, nice project, the chain coder, and I can click on this send and it's going to make a call. Click on confirm and the transaction in the process. So you can simply say that you are sending the message to the blockchain coder. Once the transaction will complete, this data will be registered and transferred to the user. So the message is successfully sent and here is the reload. You can see the one, click here and you can able to find the message. And if I switch my account to go back to the account number 1, you will see I'm connected. Now I can reload the page and there you will find that Daulat is there. I can click here and the message I got perfectly. So every single thing is working. This is how you have to test on the Ethereum test network. So now let me show you how you can do the testing using hard hat. So you can simply come back here. I'm going to stop the application and I'm going to clear it up. I'm going to simply close this up. Now what I can do is I can simply come back to my here and I'm going to simply activate this and I'm going to simply shut this one and I'm going to simply replicate this and I'm going to simply comment this one and this will be, and here I have to provide the deploy address. So now we have to simply deploy our contract. So to deploy, what we can do is we can simply come back to our package.json file and we have to execute this command first in one terminal and this command in other terminal. And then we have to start the application. So let's copy this one and open up our terminal and I can simply check my node version because you have to check your node version when you are testing locally. So I'll simply say node-v. You can see I have done the configuration in my VS Code that whenever I will delete my terminal, it will automatically switch back to the latest version. So you have to check your node version when every time when you are opening up your terminal. So I have this one, so I can simply downgrade it. So I can simply type nvm use 18.17.1 and I have the required node version. Now I have to start the local node, this one. So I'll simply type npm run and type node, hit enter. It's going to start the local node and you can see that it will give you 20 plus account and all of these account which I have provided already here. If you want to import this account, you can simply copy the private key and you can import. And by default, Hardhat will use this particular account, the first one, as an admin. So when you will deploy the contract, this contract is going to be the admin of the contract. And this is the RPC URL which we have to provide. So when you are doing manual configuration, you have to fill out all these details, but we have already done that configuration in our context management. So you don't need to do that. You can come back here, go back here. You can see we have already done the configuration in the localhost. Like here in the network, you will find that we have already done the dynamic configuration. So if you don't have localhost, it will automatically configure and fill out all of this detail. So you don't need to do anything in here. So now we are done with this. I'm going to simply bring this back up. So this should be running. You don't need to stop this. Now you have to simply spread this terminal. Now we have to deploy our contract. So if you come back here, we have a command for deploying called deploy local. I'll simply copy that one, type npm run and paste here, hit. And it's going to deploy our contract locally. So we have deployed our contract and here we got the artifact. So it will automatically update the artifact. So this is the one which you have to copy and you will have the same address when you will deploy the contract. So come back here and you can simply paste here. So once you paste here, you got the address, you got the network done, and now we can simply open another terminal and here you have to start the application. So I'm going to simply close this up, and now everything is looking great. This should be running. You don't need to stop this. Now I can simply do one thing. Like we have deployed the contract to localhost, so you can simply provide the updated API or you can keep it as it is because we haven't made any changes in the contract. So I'll go with the same one. But whenever you make any changes in the contract, you have to provide the updated API. Now I have to start the application. So let me check my node version. I'll type node-v. It's went up to the latest one. I go to go back to the old one. Let's say I got this lotus one, old one. Now I'm going to simply bring it back and I can start the application. So I can simply type this dev command. So simply type npm run dev and it's going to start the application on our localhost. So our application is running absolutely fine on localhost. So come back here, open a new tab, click on this localhost and it will automatically open this localhost network configuration because I don't have localhost in my browser. So I can simply click on this approve and it's going to be added successfully in my MetaMask. You can see I'm added the localhost in my MetaMask successfully because we have already done the configuration here. You can see chain ID, localhost, the symbol is Go, or you can simply provide the symbol in ETH. There is no problem in that. If I select this, you can see right now it's displaying in Go, but you can change that. That's the option we have, but just go as it is. There's no problem. But if it's create any problem, you can change this to ETH. So we are done with the configuration. Now I'm going to simply minimize this one. I can simply close this one. Now I have to import the hardware account. So as I have already given you all of this account, by default hardware will take this particular account as an admin. So I have to import this account. So I'll simply copy this private key and I will come back to the browser. And right now I have this two account, which is my actual account. And I can click on this add account, import account, give the private key and click on import. And the account is added. Click on this connect and you will find that it's going to fetch out the balance which I have. So if I show you, by default hardware will give this much and I have already deployed the contract using the same account, so it will have a little less fun. So it's fetching the price. Sometime I have to open one more time and you can see it's got the balance. We have this much fun. This much fun. Right now you can see it's saying 10,000, but the moment you will click here, it will show you that how much fun you have paid for deploying the contract. So this is how you can import the hardware account. Now I can do one more. I can import one more account, which is this one. So I can show you the transaction. So I can simply click on this. I can click on it, click on this, import, paste my private key and import and click on connect. So I have imported both the accounts successfully. Now I'm going to make the transaction to show you. So come back here, click on this account number 3 and I have to clear my MetaMask history because this is the problem we have. So we have imported this account. I'll click on the setting, advance and clear and reload the page. So we have done the network configuration successfully in the MetaMask, in the application. Now I can click on this create account. Is going to give me this. My wallet address is there. I can give my name. So I'll say chain coders. I can click on the submit and it will open the MetaMask. You can see that we are making the transaction. Click on this confirm and the transaction is successfully. We have created an account. I can simply come back here and I can simply switch my account to account number 4. And now I have to simply click on this setting, go to advanced and click on this create activity. And this is what you have to do whenever you switch your account. Otherwise the transaction will fail and it will get an error like RPC URL because this is the problem we have in the localhost. Now I have to click on this create. I can give a name. I'll say Daulat, Hussain. Click on the submit It's going to make a call, click on this confirm, and the transaction is completed. I have created my account. I can click on this all user and I can be friend with this particular guy. Click on this add friend. This pop-up model is opening. I can make a confirmation and the transaction is completed. I can come back to chat and here I have the user. I can simply say, and I can send the message. I'll say, hey, coders, and click on this send. It's going to open the MetaMask, click on confirm, and the transaction is completed. Click on it, and here you will have the message. If you switch back to account number 3, you can able to find the, I can simply clear my MetaMask history because I have changed my account, because this is what you have to do. Reload the page. Now you will find that Daulat is reflecting fine and you have the message. So every single thing is looking good. This is how you have to do the setup. So now you know how to test on Ethereum test network and localhost and what are the configuration you have to do. Now let me show you how you can deploy this application to Netlify so other can utilize it. So what we can do is we can simply come back to our code and this is what we have. What I'm going to do is I'm going to simply do the changes in our environment variable. So I can simply come back here and here I have did the changes. So you have to put the address of the contract which we deploy to hostclay, the first place, and I'm going to activate hostclay. That's the first changes I have to do. Now I can simply come back to my package.json file and here I'm going to attach this command like next build, which is already there in the final source code. So this is the command which I have to run. So what I will do, I'm going to simply open up my terminal and I have to simply check my node version. So what the node version I have this one. So I have the required one. Now what I have to do is I have to simply run this particular command, the build command. So I can simply come back here a little bit. And this is the command which I have to run. This one to generate a static file. So simply type npm run build and it's going to generate the static file. So it's compiling our project and it's going to give us the out folder. So you can see it's done all the compilation and it's generated this particular folder. In that we have the complete code of our project, the icon, the index file, all user and 404. So this is the folder we have to upload to Netlify. So I'm going to simply close this one and I'm going to simply close this one. I'm going to open my browser and I can click on this Netlify. So I'll simply type Netlify and you will find the very first link, click on it and make sure to create your account. You can simply create your account from Google or you can create your account from GitHub. So I will go with the normal. So I already have my account, so I will simply log in. So I'll click on login and here it's asking you. So I will go into login from my GitHub because that's what I have connected. And I would suggest you to use GitHub. Click on login and it's going to do the authentication and it will be having my dashboard. So here I'm logged in and I have all the project which I have deployed. That's all I have here. So to upload, we can simply click here, add new site, and we have 3 options. You can import it from GitHub. You can get started with the starter file, but we have to do the manual deploy. Click on it, and here we are. Click on this, and it will take you to the repository. So I'll go back to download, and I have this particular one. I'll click on it, and this is the one which we have to import. We have generated out folder. Select it, and click on upload, and it's going to do the upload. Click on this upload and it's uploading. Once the upload will complete, this application is live on internet, so user can simply come and open and visit it and you can add in your portfolio. So you can able to find all this stat modules. So it's uploading, you can able to have the preview. So we have generated. You can come back to the site configuration and from here you can call whatever name you want to give to your URL. So right now it's called this, but I want to change this to, let's say, chat DApp, let's say coders, the blockchain coder. So this is going to be the URL. I click on the save and it's saving. And finally, the URL is ready. I can click on this and it's going to open the application right up here in my browser. I can click on this connect wallet. It's going to open my wallet. Click on this connect and here I'm connecting successfully. I have to give a reload once I connect. So account is there. I can click on it. And now I can able to see that which account I am at the moment, account number 1. And I can able to send the transaction like message. I'll say, hey, click on this send. Is going to open this, click on confirm and the transaction in the process. You can simply click here and you can see the transaction is happening. So this is how you can upload your application on internet so anybody can utilize. I hope now you have understood that what you will get in the final source code and how you have to do the setup and what we have developed in the complete project. So the transaction is completed. We have sent the message. You can click here and you can able to find the message we have. So that's the complete project. I hope you have understood. This is what exactly you will get and this is how you have to do the setup. So with that, I'm ending this. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.